CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hello, good morning. It is 6 o'clock. It's Friday. It's July 10th, and it's 17 degrees at the airport right now, which is quite warm. I felt that this morning. I kind of didn't even need a jacket as I headed out at early morning hours. We'll get to the full forecast in just a moment. Right now, though, the news begins. Let's say good morning to Lisa Best.
Good morning. Escalating job action in an area we probably don't want to see it. The ongoing escalating BC nurses strike is about to come to a hospital near you. It happens this weekend. Picket lines going up 5:30 Sunday morning at the Vic General. Nurses to picket in front of the Nanaimo Regional Hospital on Monday. Then on Tuesday, picket lines will be up at the Royal Jubilee and the South Island Surgical Centre. Essential services will remain in place through the job action to ensure that urgent and emergency care continues. BC nurses picketed at two Metro Vancouver health facilities yesterday. Surrey Memorial Hospital was one of them. Union President Adrian Gear has said that the union is prepared to escalate job action if no progress is made at the bargaining table. Speaking of bargaining, the Prime Minister, Mark Carney, wrapping up a quick trip to Saudi Arabia, defending his move as the first Canadian leader to visit the nation in 26 years. CTV's Graham Richardson is traveling with the Prime Minister.
In French, Carney said he raised human rights with the Crown Prince, but called it a private conversation. And he made clear this is the way he will be managing these kinds of relationships around the world.
I do see that lecturing countries from afar is an ineffective strategy. It's satisfying, but it's ineffective.
The Prime Minister's office says as part of the trip, 13 commercial agreements were inked between Canada and Saudi corporations with the potential of $1 billion in value. The U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra, again making headlines for comments and characterizations of the ongoing prickly position of the Canada-U.S. relationship. In an interview with CTV Vancouver, Hoekstra says both Canada and the U.S. share the blame for that strained relationship.
Some of the language that some of your premiers have used and some Canadians have used, there's fault to go around to both. You can be concerned, okay? I can't stop you from being concerned. I didn't think it'd take this long, okay? I thought we'd be there already.
Hoekstra maintained that the nearly reached trade deal was blown up last fall. He had previously suggested that was before Ontario Premier Doug Ford's anti-tariff ad campaign that aired in the U.S. There's been no update on trade talks since July 1st deadline to review CUSMA came and went, triggering an ongoing annual review process. On the wildfire front, wildfire evacuees from Boston Bar now gathering in Chilliwack, where shuttle bus driver Charlie Sauer says being forced to flee the community has been devastating. Sauer usually takes fellow residents to nearby communities for medical appointments, but evacuation orders triggered by the Brunswick complex of fires have him on emergency duties now. He says there is a sense of panic among the residents, including himself, over the prospect of possibly losing their homes to the flames that have been growing rapidly. Hundreds of properties now under evacuation orders or alerts due to out-of-control fires outside of Boston Bar in the Fraser Canyon. Transport Canada has ordered the detention of a boat operated by a BC fishing charter operation after its second vessel sunk off of Vancouver. The federal order says the boat operated by the top Vancouver fishing charter is being detained for violations of safety deficiencies, including that of a pleasure crash operated as a commercial passenger vehicle. The company's sister vessel foundered on June 28th with 10 people on board. 6 are believed to have drowned, while one of the 4 who were rescued has since died in hospital. An inmate found dead in the ocean off William Head Institution last month in Chosen apparently had a history of suicidal thoughts and self-harm and had been seeing a psychologist for mental health issues. Parole documents obtained by the Times Colonist says Ernest Egon Jensen, 68, who was serving a life sentence for second-degree murder, had often been confrontational. In a parole hearing last fall, Jensen said he was suffering from a brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder. According to preliminary data, 109 people in this province lost their lives to suspected drug toxicity in May. That averages about 3.5 deaths a day. May is currently the lowest number, though, of monthly deaths due to suspected drug toxicity, reported by the Coroner's Service since 2020. During the first 5 months of this year, deaths among people 30 to 59 accounted for 68% of the deaths in the province, and 76% were male. Since 2021, the death rate among people 16 and older has remained relatively stable, while the death rate among those 19 to 59 has declined significantly during the same period. And that's your CFAX News to 6:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking you if you think e-mobility transportation should be licensed similar to other vehicles. About 90% are saying yes on our website. You can vote at CFAX1070.com and also the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time, 6:06.
Thank you, Lisa, and good morning. Thanks for joining us as we get into this Friday. It is a little on the warm side already. 15 degrees. Some places I'm seeing as high as 17 degrees right now for parts of Greater Victoria. So waking up to a fairly warm day already. We'll get you the full forecast in just a moment. Right now to the sports and to the World Cup report.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. France is through to the semifinals for a third straight World Cup. They did so with a dominant 2-0 win over Morocco, highlighted by who else?
Mbappe! Simply irrepressible. He insists on his moment.
Kylian Mbappe with his tournament-leading 8th goal to open the scoring in the 60th minute, and 6 minutes later, France added a second goal to put the game out of reach. Morocco mustered just a single shot to France's 8. France will get the winner of today's second quarterfinal between Spain and Belgium, which kicks off at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, the other two semifinalists will be determined when England plays Norway and Argentina faces Switzerland. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN Radio Network with all game streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
There you go. Now quickly looking at some of the local sports. Victoria Harbour Cats fighting to the bitter end last night in a 10-inning showdown that ended in a 7-6 Bend Elks victory. So they got one, but the Harbour Cats won the first two games. So, hey, they took the series win. And in lacrosse, Victoria Shamrocks hosting the Langley Thunder tonight at the Q Center. Shamrocks still topping the WLA standings with 10 wins and 2 losses so far with 12 games played on the season. And they've won their last 2 heading into this matchup. That is your CFAX 1070 Sports at 6:09. .09 is the time, and traffic and weather. First off, I will say this. It does look like the Malahat is all okay this morning after that major incident last night with the lines going down. I had said last night, I guess it was yesterday afternoon, where the truck took down the lines. There was a little fire, major chaos.
It went into last night, shall we say, like midnight-ish.
Did go into last night, but it was moving a little bit as of about 6 last night and cleared up after that. So if you're heading up island or down island, whichever way you're going, Malahat is moving this morning. That's the big thing. There is a little bit of a snag, but I don't think this is because of anything like that. It's just a Shawnigan Lake Road closure, which is underway for some construction. It is slowing things up a little bit around Shawnigan Lake Road on the Malahat. So that's a thing you'll notice, but I don't think it has anything to do with that stuff from yesterday. It's just some construction. BC Ferry's got no problems right now. And for the weather forecast, let's talk about that. Mainly cloudy today again, kind of like yesterday. A little breezy off the Wantafuka Strait. That's been the case all this week, and it continues to be. We expect a high of 20, but it's already quite warm out there. It's 15 degrees officially at the airport. I am seeing 17 in some places right now, and it certainly feels a little warmer if you head outside. We're just starting the day on the warm side. Mainly cloudy tonight, lows down to 12. Tomorrow for our Saturday, it's mainly cloudy, temperatures of 21, a little cooler by the water. Pretty much the same for Sunday, and it kind of looks the same next week as well, except maybe getting just a little warmer. We might see the temperatures get up towards the mid-20s as we get into next week, but not a far throw from where we are now. And where we are now is 15 degrees. Opening bells for North American stock markets opening a little later this hour, so let's set up the day by looking at how things closed yesterday with Aaron Sousa.
Canada's main stock index saw gains yesterday. Toronto's S&P TSX climbing 264 to 35,200. U.S. markets also rose. The Dow was up 139 points and the Nasdaq added 336. In Tokyo this morning, the Nikkei earned 813 points. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong rose by 144. Our dollar is trading at 70 and 60 cents U.S. Canada's ties with Saudi Arabia may be warming up after the Prime Minister's trip this week. One expert says the relationship is moving toward opportunities in things like mining, healthcare, and energy. StatCan will release June's job report today. Economists expecting a gain of 10,000 jobs to keep the unemployment rate steady. This ahead of the Bank of Canada deciding its next interest rate on Wednesday. And privacy concerns in the U.S. about AI note takers. Experts say the tools, while convenient, can mean confidential info could be shared with third parties or used to train AI models. They suggest avoiding AI tools for sensitive meetings. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
Hey, thanks for joining us here as we get into Friday. I'm Ryan. We got Lisa on the news desk. Hey, Lisa, how you doing?
I'm good here. Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, Friday's here. Texter says they are still working on that power at Shawnigan Lake Road because 519 residents still doesn't have power after the accident yesterday on the Malahat.
Okay.
So I think that actually is what that construction we're seeing is right by Shawnigan Lake Road. So there is some work happening, I guess, still addressing all of this. And
Kind of a tricky area to get into as well. You can see the pole was sort of half across the road at one point. The lines were definitely down. Another day. It wasn't a Friday. It didn't happen on a Friday, but still a major travel snag.
An 18-wheeler took out a power line, sparked a brush fire. That was how the RCMP described it.
Yeah.
Though the initial incident that happened, about 1,600 customers for BC Hydro were out of power at the peak of all of this. And as we're just hearing from that texter, that sounds like there's still a few people who are still waiting to get their power back on. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. So, anyways, there's still
a lot for your freezer.
If you're going up or down the Malahat, there's still some residual effects of this, but they do have the road open at least. So things are moving. You might just have to slow down as you pass by the continued work there.
Yeah, and fire crews were saying on social media yesterday they made quick work of that fire too.
That's good.
So they were probably expecting that with the lines down that something may go sideways in that department. So kudos to them for getting on it.
If you have any updates, we'd love a text at 71010. If you go by there and just give us a sense of how things are moving this morning, we can share the info. We're also going to share the info about the BC nurses strike. That is ratcheting up as we've been hearing. We're going to start to see some picket lines around Victoria over the next few days. They started with the picket lines on the mainland first, but now the island hospitals,
coming
including a couple of Victoria ones, are coming up. Mm-hmm. When we spoke to the BC Nurses Union president to start the week on Monday, I remember we spoke to Adrienne Gear, and she was in the middle of preparing to head into some bargaining, to some negotiations. We talked to her early in the morning, just as she was heading in. And do you remember she just sounded kind of like she wasn't expecting much? She wasn't
confident that it was going to go anywhere.
She was like, the government's not going to budge. what are we going to get out of this? She had that kind of attitude. And then, sure enough, it seems like things did break down, and that's why we're seeing this escalating job action. So we're going to reach back out to the BC Nurses Union president and talk to her in just a few minutes. She's going to join us early here on the show right after the headlines. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Latest from the strike. What else is going on, Lisa?
The Tsleil-Waututh Nation says it's going to court to try to overturn a plan to dredge the Burrard Inlet, allowing for larger oil tankers to pass through. The nation says it's filed for a judicial review in BC Supreme Court, aiming to overturn that permits issued by the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority to allow the dredging to happen. It says the nation understands the importance of the project for Canadian trade, but the assessment process was rushed and didn't address concerns about oil spill risks and other threats. The Port Authority issued in June the dredging permits that would allow for the accommodation of larger or fuller oil tankers to load Trans Mountain Pipeline products in Burnaby. If you bought beef in the last decade, you could be eligible to receive a settlement in a class action lawsuit. The courts are set to decide this year whether a multi-million-dollar proposed settlement in beef price fixing class action lawsuits should proceed. Lawyers behind the suit says a group of companies accused of conspiring to fix the price of beef have agreed to pay nearly $8 million. The suit is similar to the one settled in 2024 for $500 million, linked to the price fixing of bread. That paid out about $50 per person. And speaking of eating, Hong Kong is relaxing its decades-old rule, allowing dogs to dine with their owners in over 900 approved restaurants. Since 1994, only guide dogs and those on duty were allowed. The change is effective today, aims to provide a pet-friendly culture. In recent years, some ferries, metro trains, and public hospitals in the area have also become pet-inclusive. Dog owners are even attending dog dining etiquette workshops to prepare their pet for dining out. Owners must follow guidelines, keep the dog on a leash. Some eateries have invested in pet-friendly facilities in order to increase business. And that's your news to 6:17.
All right, let's talk about the BC Nurses Union strike and what is ahead for the Victoria area as the strike hits here. That's coming up after traffic and weather. Yeah, if you happen to see what's going on the Malahat, the crash is over from yesterday. The truck hitting power lines. I guess that was the crash.
It's a collision. Yeah.
It was a collision. Anyways, it's cleared, but they're still doing some work. It could still be slowing things up. Let us know if you see anything at 7:10. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. By the way, the whole morning show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps for a comfortable home no matter the season and big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps, designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Let's see what's happening on the roads. Well, we'll talk about the Malahat again in a second. It is moving, but I'll also mention that coming up in less than an hour, the paving begins again on Cook Street between Slater and Tolmie Avenue. This will be going right until 7 p.m. Single lane alternating traffic will be in effect because of this. That'll be going again today. Now, on the Malahat, things are moving after yesterday's closure because of the truck into power line, but there are still some power outages in the area, and there is still work going on to sort of restore things. So just watch out for possible delays, and let me know at 7:10:10 if you see anything. For the weather forecast, starting the day off a little on the warmer side. Overnight lows actually dipped down to only as far as about 15 degrees. In some places, I'm even seeing 17 degrees. It's going to eventually heat up not that much. We're going to see a high of around 20 degrees today. So, yeah, it'll get a little warmer, but we're already sort of starting the day in the warmth. The weekend is looking nice as well, with mainly cloudy skies for Saturday, with some sunshine for Sunday, and temperatures staying around about a 20-21 degree high.
Let's get started.
Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
The BC Nurses Union escalating their strike action after it says negotiations hit an impasse, and they're now calling for the provincial government to intervene. Let's find out more with the BCNU president, Adrian Gear, who's joining us on the line. Hello, how are you?
Hello, good morning. I'm well, thank you.
We spoke at the beginning of the week on Monday, just as you were heading into the bargaining for all of this, which, as we've now learned, did break down and has led to this escalating strike action. I remember when I spoke to you on Monday, you definitely sounded you didn't sound too hopeful heading into those sessions, and I gather you were correct with those feelings.
Yeah, well, certainly, to the health employers' credit, I do think like everyone came to the table and put their best foot forward. At the end of the day, the health, like the employers can't go beyond what the government imposed mandate is. And so while we were able to have some productive conversations and sort of, tweak a few things, at the end of the day, I think if we carried on, it would just become frustrating. And so on Tuesday, the bargaining committee, we really carefully looked at, what we were able to achieve. And again, I'm calling it tweaking. And at the end of the day, made the decision to, again, declare impasse and walk away.
Explain the government-imposed mandate again.
Yeah, so for this round of collective bargaining, all rounds of collective bargaining, really, the government establishes like a mandate in which the unions can negotiate. And so for my members, it falls too short. And while they recognize...
Is it a mandate on money? Is it like you can only give this much or something like that?
Yeah. Yes. So the general wage increase, I think, is where you're getting at. That was what was offered is 3% a year if you take a 4-year deal. And then there's some additional, they call it enhanced mandate money, that is a total of about 2%. And so that was our initial fight, is we couldn't access that 2%. And that money is used to do things like increase shift premiums, et cetera. And so at the end of the day, within mandate, the team did the best they could. The mandate just does not go far enough to address the concerns that nurses are rightfully raising and taking a stand on. I think what we're seeing now is, not only, the contract doesn't go far enough, but nurses are clearly like, we've had enough, right? And so it actually goes beyond a labor contract. This is about not investing in healthcare. It's about not training enough nurses. It's about the violence that we experience. It's about not providing the care our patients need. And that's what's going on. So is it about the mandate? 100%, but it's about so much more.
Now, with that breaking down, we are seeing picket lines extend to here on Vancouver Island. Can you let us know what we can expect to see?
Well, what I want to assure the public is that, essential service levels will be maintained. There's a bit of a caveat there, because on any given day in this province, nurses work below essential service levels, like when we're not in job action. And so it is challenging to even meet essential service levels. And I think, patients see that when they experience healthcare. But if somebody needs healthcare, they still go to the hospital. It's not like we have picket lines blocking entrances or anything. There will be a visible presence, certainly at the Vancouver General picket line, and I've been out in Surrey. It's a rowdy, jubilant bunch, but like nobody is preventing anyone from accessing the facility. Are things scaled down? Yes. So certainly, I think the most obvious impact would be a reduction in elective surgeries. So certainly, what we say life and limb surgeries, urgent surgeries, they still go forward, procedures, but it does require the employer to scale back operations. And so I can't say there's not, there won't be impact, but if people need healthcare, they need to go to the hospital.
Now, Victoria General Hospital and Royal Jubilee Hospital here in the Victoria area, when do the picket lines go there? Do we know the timeline?
Yes. So we're going to initiate a picket line at the Victoria General this Sunday. And then we will initiate a picket line at the Nanaimo Regional General Hospital on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we will initiate picket lines at the Royal Jubilee Hospital and the South Island Surgical Center, which is actually located closer to VGH.
So if you're just a regular person, you're heading to the hospital, you encounter a picket line. What do you want people to know about that? How should people treat that?
Well, what we've been experiencing so far is lots of honking and people cheering. So we hope that
lots of that. You want to see that?
Yeah, no, 100%. Again, we're not blocking entrances. Like that's not happening. You're going to see nurses with signs and all the healthcare unions and other broader labor and just the public coming out and supporting us. You're going to see nurses with their children walking on a picket line. So we're not preventing healthcare. We're raising awareness. Yes, we are going down to essential service levels. And I also want to say, that's the last thing we want to do. Like every nurse wants to be inside that building providing care. And we're at this very difficult time. And so things will look very different.
Now, one last thing, we've just got a minute or so left, but I know there's another issue that sort of emerged out of this, and that is this labor board complaint. Can you talk us through what is being alleged? Because I know some nurses are alleging that there's improper intimidation happening, people being told to do things they're not supposed to given the strike. So what's happening, and what is where is that at? Where is that situation at?
Thanks for asking the question. And I want to say that the behavior of the employer is certainly contributing to the escalation. And so people might be curious why we're picking the areas that we're going. So I'm just going to say that. What I can tell you is that since July 2nd, when we entered legal, lawful job action of banning non-nursing duties, which was designed so that we would not impact patient care. Many health employers decided to start intimidating and threatening my members. And so saying things like, well, if you don't do those duties, I'm going to report you to your college. Like, we're regulated professionals. We hold a license. And those types of threats. If you don't do that, I'm going to report you. There was even some evidence of some employers, and I'm not saying it was Island Health, indicating that you'll be disciplined internally, like this type of thing. And so that we have over as of yesterday, over 2,300 formal complaints. And so we have made emergency applications to the Labor Relations Board for Island Health, Fraser Health, Northern Health, Interior Health, and Vancouver Coastal. As of yet, we have not filed complaints against Providence Healthcare or Provincial Health Services. And so it is very problematic because we have constitutional rights to enter in lawful job action. And again, the whole point of banning non-nursing duties is we didn't want to disrupt or impact patient care whatsoever. And so these duties, while important in the delivery of healthcare, do not require a regulated professional nurse to carry them out. And when you think about the fact that in this province, at any given time, we have between 4,500 and 6,000 permanent nursing vacancies, and nurses have been trying to provide care in very difficult working conditions and then having all these additional duties that other people could be carrying out added to our job descriptions, that just makes no sense. And so now we're in this legal position where we can ban those non-nursing duties, and instead of the employer just picking them up, they chose to start threatening our members, and we will not stand for that.
Thanks for explaining the situation. We got to leave it there because we're out of time, but I get the sense this isn't the last we'll be talking to you. We'll probably talk again soon as we continue to follow this. But thank you for giving us the update this morning.
Thank you very much, and thank you to your listeners.
All right, the nurses' strike getting the latest there. That is the BC Nurses Union President, Adrian Gear. We'll take a break. 6:30 News next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Broadway Victoria presents Kinky Boots, coming to Royal Theatre from July 7th through 12th. Get your tickets at rmts.bc.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 6:32 on Friday, July the 10th. We're taking a look at a cloudy day. Fairly warm, though, already. 15 degrees at the airport, heading towards a high of 20. We'll get you the full forecast in just a moment. But right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you. More than 500 BC Hydro customers remain without power this hour. It's been more than 15 hours off since about 3:30 yesterday afternoon. It's the aftermath of that single vehicle collision on the Malahat near Shawnigan Lake Road. It involved a semi and a hydro pole, and the hydro pole got the worst of that one. Closed the route because it was halfway across the route, and the power lines came down too, which knocked out hydro for the region. BC Hydro crews say the damage is still extensive, and they have to replace possibly the power poles, so more crew need to be brought into the site. We'll keep you posted on the changes up the Malahat. The Malahat, though, is open. It has reopened after being closed due to that collision yesterday. The ongoing escalating BC nurses strike is not closing hospitals, but you'll notice the presence of it at a hospital near you soon enough. BC Nurses Union President Adrian Gear, live on CFAX moments ago.
We're going to initiate a picket line at the Victoria General this Sunday, and then we will initiate a picket line at the Nanaimo Regional General Hospital on Monday.
Then on Tuesday, lines will be up at the Royal Jubilee and the South Island Surgical Centre. Essential services will remain in place throughout the job action to ensure urgent and emergency care continues. Adrian Gear says the union representing some 50,000 nurses are prepared to further escalate job action if no progress is made at the bargaining table. But she says if you do have an emergency, definitely go to the hospital. The nurses will help you. A BC fishing charter company boasted on social media about its two vessels going out together and making a big haul of fish about 2 hours after one of the boats sank, leaving 1 dead and 6 feared loss.
A social media post uncovered by the Canadian Press is raising new questions about the timeline of a fatal fishing charter sinking off Vancouver. The Top Ocean went down in the Strait of Georgia around 10:45 a.m. on June 28th, but the first Mayday call did not reach authorities until roughly an hour later. Ashley Lynn, the mother of the vessel's 22-year-old captain, says she wants to know why the operator of Top Vancouver Fishing Charter, who is aboard a larger nearby boat, did not realize sooner that the Top Ocean had sunk. Now the operator has declined to comment publicly. David Augustine, the Canadian Press.
StatsCan says the economy continued to add jobs in the month of June, a gain of 18,000 positions. That was enough to push the unemployment rate down by a tenth of a point to 6.5%.
Job growth was primarily in part-time work last month and led by the wholesale and retail trade industry and food and accommodation sector. Youth saw a better start to the summer job market this year with a gain of 33,000 positions for workers aged 15 to 24. Manufacturing, meanwhile, led losses and is down some 61,000 jobs since a recent peak in January 2025 because of U.S. tariffs. The June jobs report is the Bank of Canada's last major look at the economy before its next interest rate decision on Wednesday. Michelle Zedekian, the Canadian Press.
The woman who narrowly lost the race to become BC Conservative leader now pushing back at Pierre Poilievre's recent jab. Poilievre apparently told a crowd at the Calgary Stampede that Carrie Lynn Finlay won against, quote, liberal lobbyists from out east. Caroline Elliott responded with a video of her own on social media.
I voted Conservative my entire life. I voted for you in your own CPC leadership race. My family and friends donate to you at my encouragement. I've attended events and knocked on doors for you. Spoken up for you on social media and in my columns that you've actually posted to your own social media. I was the only candidate to publicly endorse you ahead of your leadership review vote earlier this year. So your MPs, and now you personally, celebrating my defeat in the BC Conservative leadership race is disappointing. The race is over, and it's time to unite, not divide.
Elliott pointed out her campaign team also included a number of Poilievre's former staff members. That's your news to 6:36.
The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe.
Everyone wants to know about real estate. Is the market going up or down? Time to buy or sell? How can government programs and policies affect you? Hear from local experts on topics like appraisal, inspection, investment, and others on how to maximize your real estate sale.
Providing info on everything you needed to know about real estate. The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe. Saturdays at noon on CFAX 1070.
Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. We're asking, do you think e-mobility transportation should be licensed similar to other vehicles? Right now, 79% are saying yes on Twitter X. 90% are saying yes on our website. You can vote on social media, CFAX1070.com, and also the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time is 6:38.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning. We are kind of warm already, sitting at 15 to 17 degrees is the range we're seeing around the Victoria region right now, heading towards a high of 20. We'll get to the full forecast in a moment. But let's start with the sports, and we will start in the World Cup of Soccer, where we've got in action today Spain and Belgium set to clash at the FIFA World Cup quarterfinals. They're playing their game in Los Angeles. Spain is coming off a 1-0 victory over Portugal, while Belgium handily beat the United States 4-1 to advance. The winner of this one will take on France, which, of course, yesterday beat Morocco 2-0. So that is where things are at for the World Cup. What's happening in the world of baseball? Well, the Toronto Blue Jays are back in action tonight as they visit the Padres in San Diego for the opening of a 3-game series. Toronto is coming off back-to-back wins over San Francisco, including their 10-0 win on Wednesday. In local baseball, the Victoria Harbour Cats fought to the bitter end in a 10-inning showdown that eventually ended with the Bend Elks getting a win. 7-6 was the score in the end last night. But the Harbour Cats have taken the first 2 games of that 3-game series. So they win the series but lost the final game last night. In lacrosse, Victoria Shamrocks in action tonight. They'll host the Langley Thunder at the Q Centre. Shamrocks heading into this one still topping the WLA standings with 10 wins and 2 losses so far on the season. And, it's CFL football. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers host the Toronto Argonauts tonight. Drew Brown will start at quarterback for the Bombers. So that's what's happening there. Winnipeg looking to avoid suffering a 3rd straight home loss for the first time since 2016. Meanwhile, the Argos are coming off a 58-36 loss to Calgary. That is your CFAX 1070 Sports to 6:39.
Whether it's siding, gutters, or decking, ProTech Exterior Products has it all. Visit beahomepro.com to find out more.
It's 6:41. It is Friday morning, and we are looking at a fairly normal commute other than on the Malahat right at Shawnigan Lake Road, where the thing happened yesterday, where the semi-truck hit the power lines and caused all the kerfuffle. You might still see some residual work. They're still working to restore power and get some of that area cleaned up. Traffic is moving. As far as I can see, both directions going okay. Maybe a little bit slower through that area around Shawnigan Lake Road, but otherwise things seem to be moving this morning, at least early. If you happen to go by there and see anything, give me a sense of how it's progressing. I would love a text at 71010 if you could do so hands-free. But yeah, it's moving this morning. The paving work will begin again on Cook Street in a few minutes, actually. Around about 7 is when this will happen. This is the same place as yesterday between Slater and Tolmie Avenue on Cook Street, going right until 7 p.m. Single-lane alternating traffic will be there. For the weather forecast, mainly cloudy today, a little breezy off the Juan de Fuca Strait, as it has been all this week. Highs will hit 20, a little cooler by the water, but we didn't cool down that much, comparatively speaking. Overnight, we're already around 15 degrees. I'm even seeing 17 degrees and a few spots on our SchoolNet weather system. We like to check here all the temperature gauges on the schools across the region. So, yeah, starting off a little warmer, but not actually warming up too much more as the day goes on. The weekend looks fine. Mainly cloudy for Saturday. Mix of sun and cloud for Sunday. Temperatures around about 20, 21 degrees for both of those days, with overnight lows around 12 degrees. North American stock markets have just opened, awaiting the first results. I can tell you yesterday, the S&P TSX was up 264 to 35,200. The Dow Jones up 139 to 52,487. The NASDAQ up 336 to 26,206. And the Canadian dollar at 70.7 cents U.S. What I will mention that the barrel of oil, there's been a lot of Iran news recently. It is at 71.95 cents U.S. a barrel, and it's down a little bit, or, it closed the day yesterday down a little bit. So haven't seen the huge spike in oil at the barrel of crude level as of yet, but we'll keep watching that too.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
And we're so glad you could join us here. And I'm doing my thing. I'm checking my thing I do in the mornings.
Now we're all wondering what the thing is.
This thing.
Big win, bigger impact.
Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50.
$3,475 is the jackpot right now. What are we talking about? Well, this is the Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50. It's a giant 50-50 raffle that we're doing all summer long here on the radio. And you buy a ticket or 5 tickets in a pack for a slightly better price or 20 tickets in a pack for even better price. What are the prices, you ask? Well, it's $10 for a single ticket, $25 for that 5-pack, or $50 for the 20-pack. And at the end of summer, actually, I can tell you exactly. It's Friday, August 28th. We're going to draw one of the tickets that's purchased, and we will give half the money, 50% in the 50-50, to the winner, and the other half goes to CFAX Santa's Anonymous to help power Kids Count, which is the way CFAX Santa's Anonymous helps children and families around Greater Victoria beyond Christmas.
Nice. And so at this point, what do you take and do my math? 3,500, so we're taking 1,700 approximately home?
Yeah.
Ooh. Okay.
That's already great.
That is good. And I figure by August 28th when we make this draw, that'll take the sting out of summer ending.
Oh, yeah.
Because it'll put some cash in your pocket. And, of course, put cash in CFAX Santa's pocket, too, to help families around the community.
And who knows how much higher this is going to get because we got a while to go. But don't wait. I mean, buy the ticket as soon as you can. CFAX1070.com is where you can go, and you'll see this big button for the 50-50, the Mega Summer 50-50. Click on that, and it'll guide you to where you can go buy your ticket. Over to the headlines at 6:45. What's going on, Lisa?
Thank you. The company operating that fishing charter out of Vancouver, which lost one of its boats in the Strait of Georgia, is facing growing scrutiny. First Transport Canada has ordered the detention of top Vancouver's fishing charter's other vessels, citing violations and safety deficiency. Secondly, a social media post by the company was found bragging that both ships were bringing big hauls of fish. Curiously, it was time-stamped 2 hours after the sinking. 6 of the 10 on board 10 were on board when it went down. 6 have been lost at sea, 4 rescued, but a Chinese woman who was rescued later died in hospital. A West Virginia man is the 8th person to be indicted for allegedly plotting an attack on the UFC fight at the White House last month. Court documents revealed by the Justice Department on Thursday show Chandler Skaggs as the latest person to face charges. The 21-year-old was allegedly planning to act as one of the snipers at the event. The foiled plan reportedly involved using drones to distract the crowd while snipers would shoot people fleeing. 5 people were arrested in the weekend of the event, 2 others caught the following week. The indictment charges all 8 suspects with conspiracy to provide material to terrorists, conspiracy to commit murder on federal government territory, and to murder a federal government official. On a lighter note, she's been a doctor, pilot, ran for president. She's even played a lot of soccer. Barbie's going somewhere new. She's going to a stamp. The U.S. Postal Service is partnering with Mattel on a collection of stamps featuring the iconic fashion doll through the years, dressed for 10 different careers. And yes, a soccer player is one of them. The release coincides with the National Barbie Doll Collectors Convention, which is now underway in Austin, Texas. A lot of pink there. The Barbie Forever stamps will be available at U.S. Postal Service starting this weekend. And that's your news to 647.
Thank you, Lisa. We'll take a quick break. Traffic and weather, including a sense of how the Malahat is shaping up this morning after yesterday's incident. That is in just a moment. Then we're going to talk to a Courtney woman who says she's crowdfunding to treat her breast cancer. It's a specific type, though, and there's a few interesting twists to her story, which is why she's had to go this route. And we're going to talk to her and find out more about what she's facing and why she's had to turn to crowdfunding next.
Developing political story, a big doozy.
Vashi Capellos.
What started as a dull day is anything but.
The top newsmakers.
Your go-to political debrief. Daily.
What is really going on?
The breaking news.
Just moments ago.
And the entertaining analysis and debate to follow.
I don't think you can sugarcoat it. It's an issue.
It's not true, guys. Yeah.
Vashi Capellos.
There is a greater plan here.
Vashi Capellos. Weekdays 9 a.m. to 11.
Bigger picture politically, which is
on CFAX 1070.
6:49, what's happening in traffic? I got a text message at 7:10:10 saying smooth sailing both north and southbound, but it's single lane both ways at South Shawnigan. Thanks, Ryan and Lisa. Love listening to you guys on my commute. Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for letting us know. We were kind of curious how things were shaping up. We're talking about the Malahat at Shawnigan Lake where, yesterday afternoon it was closed both directions because of the big semi-truck hitting those power lines, sparked a fire. There's still power outages, and they're still working on getting it all back up and running, which is why I'm mentioning it in traffic. There's still, as this texter just said, single lane going there, but things seem to be going smoothly in both directions despite the restriction. So thank you for that update. Much appreciated. And if you got an update, if you go by it and things have changed, please do let us know at 7:10:10. That's the only real blip in traffic right now. Let's talk about weather, where mainly cloudy skies will be with us again. Highs will hit 20 degrees, a little cooler by the water. It's still breezy by the Wandafuka Strait, but we're already kind of warm. 15 degrees is where we're starting the day. It's even warmer in some places. I was looking at Brentwood Bay. You're about 17 degrees right now.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Okay, we're going to now meet Jennifer Barrel, a Courtney woman who says she's crowdfunding to treat a breast cancer. It's an unusual one and has caused her to turn to crowdfunding. It has raised the vast majority of the $24,000 that she needs to pay for the breast cancer treatment, which apparently is not covered by insurance. The health ministry has responded to us saying it does fund some kind of appropriate drug here, but we don't really know what the disconnect is. So we wanted to just reach out to Jennifer herself and get her to share her story. So she's here now. Jennifer, hello. How are you?
Hi. Just so you know, it's Beharrell, but that's all good.
Oh, Beharrell. Thank you so much. Jennifer Beharrell, nice to meet you. And
Hi.
You're going on quite the journey right now, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah, very scary. Yeah.
You've got an unusual breast cancer. What's it called?
So I have invasive ductal carcinoma, which is kind of like the basic biatch of breast cancers, but I have stage 3, grade 3 inflammatory, which makes it very fast growing. It went from about 6 centimeters on my ultrasound to almost 6 inches in the last just over 6 weeks. So very serious.
Wow. And the treatment for it has been another part of the journey, which is why you've turned to crowdfunding. Could you talk to us about what happened there and why you've had to go this route?
So my brilliant oncologist has recommended a TCHP therapy, which is the combination of 2 chemotherapy drugs and 2 other drugs. I think they're like an immunotherapy, but I don't know. I'm not the expert. But Perjeta is what it's commonly known as. It has 2 names. But the province of BC, my oncologist reached out to me and said that they declined funding for that Perjeta. And I said to him, well, how much is it? He said, it's approximately $4,000 a dose, and I need 6 of them. So that came to $24,000. So, of course, I almost fell off my chair.
Yeah.
So he said, in the next coming days, you'll be contacted by this OnCare program. So they gave me the drug number to plug onto my private insurance to see if they provided any coverage, and they do not cover the drug. And so then the next step was OnCare was finally able to come through with 60% of the funding, which made my portion still $12,600. So, yeah.
Sorry, what was that amount again that you need to raise?
So $12,600 for the Perjeta is what it ended up being in the end. So I just paid for my first dose yesterday, $3,600 for the first dose, and I need 5 after that, $1,800 each.
Ooh.
So that comes to $9,000 plus the $3,600 is $12,600.
So with that said, you've got to raise this money. You've turned to one of those crowdfunding websites. I'm on looking at it right now. It's a GoFundMe page, and it looks like you've raised about $26,000 as of this very moment, is what I'm looking at, just from the community rallying together for this. How does that feel to see that number?
Well, I am just blown away. Like, it brings me to tears. It's not just this drug. There's many out-of-pocket expenses because I have to travel to Victoria, and because they can't get me into my hospital soon enough up here. And so, the money's just funneling out of my account. So I have exactly what I need. We've actually shut down the accepting donations now because I'm not looking to profit here.
Right,
and
yeah.
anything that I don't need, I'm going to find a way to donate that, but we've got what we need now. And I just cannot believe the generosity of strangers. And, I've talked to my local MLA. When they saw the news article on Check News, there's at least 5 people in my riding alone that saw the news article and reached out and were facing this very same problem and had to pay for their own treatment privately. And some of them did GoFundMes as well. So, like my MLA said, it's like GoFundMe healthcare. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, that was sort of coining a new phrase in the New World Order of where there's a gap in what you're covered for and how much the medication actually costs. And, we feel for you because we can hear the emotion in your voice, but we can also feel your resiliency. Jen, can you explain a little bit more about this kind of cancer? Because this does not manifest as a lump. It manifests as a rash. Is that not right?
Well, I found a lump, I would guesstimate it was about the size of a quarter on May 23rd. Oh. And my skin was really red and hot. And so I thought I had an infection in one of my ducts or something. So I went to urgent care that night. Thank God I did, because I couldn't get in to see my doctor for 2 weeks. So I'm glad I didn't wait. And he agreed it was something that needed to be looked at urgently. So I had a mammogram and an ultrasound on June the 3rd. And then they wanted to do a biopsy because it was flagged for, it looked very bad. So they did a biopsy on June 5th. And on June 9th, I got the call from my doctor confirming that it is invasive ductal carcinoma. And it was given a grade 3 at that time. I didn't know the stage yet until I got my CT scan. But then I had a bone scan. So far, it's not metastasized.
Good.
But it is in my lymph nodes, they figure. So I had a biopsy the day before yesterday, and I'm still waiting on the results of that. And I had my surgery for my port install yesterday. So everything's moving very fast, and I'm very grateful for that. And my doctors and everyone I've encountered at that hospital is just amazing. And I can't believe the government and how they treat our healthcare professionals. It's another thing that I'm so upset about. Everyone that I have on my side, I just have such an amazing team behind me, and I'm so grateful.
Oh, we feel for you in this. Would you consider reopening that fundraiser if you needed more money?
I don't think I will need more money. I'm praying I won't. But down the road, if something unusual came up, possibly. But I'm not trying to make money here. I just wanted to cover my costs so I don't end up bankrupt. And with this drug, I'll be given like an 80+ % of a survival rate. And if I don't do this therapy with all the drugs combined, I've been told that I have less than a 20% chance. So that's why, out of desperation, my best friend set up the GoFundMe, because I had really had no other option. I'm not exactly made of money. And another sickening thing to me is that how do elderly people navigate this healthcare system when everything's on computer or cell phone? It's heartbreaking to me that there's so many people that don't know how to navigate this. I'm grateful that I do know how to use a computer, and I've been on the phone. I've had to charge my phone 2-3 times a day with all the phone calls I'm making, trying to get funding, reaching out to media. It's it's lit a fire under my butt, and which is kind of good because then I'm not sitting around just thinking about my cancer. But I'm doing this because I want people in the future to not have to go through what I'm going through. That's my goal. Even if it doesn't help me, I want to help people in the future.
Well, hopefully, telling your story will maybe make a review happen. Maybe something could change. And actually, Lisa, do you mind if I make you late for the news here?
No, go right ahead. This is very important.
It's news time, but we're just going to put that off for a moment. Because, Jennifer, I just want to ask this one last question of you. And I don't expect you to have the answer to this, because this is the question that everybody wants to know now is like, how come, again, you had to go this route? And it's great that you've had the success. Wonderful that the community came together, raised this $26,000 for you to hopefully be enough money to get you through and get this treatment that you said gives you the chance of survival. But why did you have to go this route still remains sort of the question I'm sure everybody's asking. And we did ask the BC government. We reached out to the Ministry of Health, and they responded to us that cancer drugs are publicly funded in BC. They're covered through BC Cancer. Before a new cancer drug can be publicly funded, it undergoes a rigorous review process involving Health Canada and so on and so forth. And there's a particular drug that they do fund called, and I'm going to mispronounce this, Tozimab?
Tozimab. That is the other name for this drug, Perjeta.
Okay. Yeah. So they say they fund it. So what happened? I'm still left wondering, like, what happened here? Why did you end up having to be going the route you went?
What happened? It's a funding issue. And I'm no expert, but I loaded this onto ChatGPT, and they do fund Perjeta if it's taken after surgery. But if I have surgery first, it'll spread. So that's why my doctor, my oncologist, recommends that I do this chemo plan ahead of time to kill the Herceptin, because I have it's a HER2 positive cancer. So they want me to do the chemo treatment ahead of surgery. If I do it the other way around, then it will spread. So they do not fund it if you have to take it before surgery. It's just simply like a funding issue, like a policy issue. And that's the fight that I want to have changed, that they will fund this before surgery, because I don't have the option,
Well, I'm glad we could help spread that message here. And if you get any updates, if this progresses at all and you want to continue talking about it, do reach back out to us. We'd be glad to get you back on the radio and follow your journey, okay?
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And again, I thank you all. I thank all the listeners, my healthcare professionals, and the nurses. What they're doing to the nurses in this province is just disgusting. Huh. And I hope that changes too.
Jennifer, and it was Beharrell?
Yes.
Okay, got it right this time. Jennifer Beharrell from Courtney.
Yeah.
Congratulations on getting the money you need, and good luck in your journey trying to maybe make some change here so people don't have to go through the same route you went.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wow. Well,
Lisa, check back in on her and see how her battle's going too.
And again, I just want to stress that it was interesting to hear her say that she's here on the radio today, not asking for more money. Mm-hmm. She does have this GoFundMe, but she's closed it because she says if she's got enough, she doesn't want to profit off this. She doesn't want people spending money that they don't need to help her when she's already achieved what she needs, which I think is a great thing to hear. So don't rush off to GoFundMe and try to give her money. She's not asking for that.
But there's other people where the gap is still very real for them. So fighting for their lives and also trying to find the money to be able to fight for their lives.
Yeah, it's some interesting stuff brought up there. I can't say I have all the answers, but it does sound like there's some maybe a policy to be discussed further, and we'll continue to follow that. But we should get to the news, Lisa. We're a little late for that, so no worries. We'll get there. We'll just be a little late in just a moment.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 7:06. After an important conversation, we're a little late for the news, so let's get to it. And here is Lisa Best.
Thank you. Still dealing with a power outage up island along the Malahat. More than 500 BC Hydro customers, homes and businesses remaining without power this hour, more than 15 hours. It's been off since about 3:30 yesterday, the aftermath of that collision on the Malahat near Shawnigan Lake Road turnoff. That involved a semi and a hydro pole. But the hydro pole and the lines came down, partially knocking out power to many in the region. Now, BC Hydro says the damage is extensive and requires possibly a replacement of a couple of poles, so more crew may need to be brought in. We'll keep you posted on the power outages there. Money in focus here. Stats Canada says our economy continued to add jobs in the month of June with a gain of 18,000 positions. That was enough to push the unemployment rate down a tenth of a point to 6.5%.
Job growth was primarily in part-time work last month and led by the wholesale and retail trade industry and food and accommodation sector. Youth saw a better start to the summer job market this year with a gain of 33,000 positions for workers aged 15 to 24. Manufacturing, meanwhile, led losses and is down some 61,000 jobs since a recent peak in January 2025 because of U.S. tariffs. The June jobs report is the Bank of Canada's last major look at the economy before its next interest rate decision on Wednesday. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
In health news, there's new hope that robots can help save lives.
For the first time, surgeons at UC San Diego have operated through humanoid robots, removing gallbladders and 2 procedures on pigs, a key step before any human trials. The robot is 5 feet tall, with a head and arms, and kind of looks like a human. Surgery fits anywhere a person can, and that's the point. Researchers say robots like Sergi could one day help ease staffing shortages in hospitals, starting as an assistant, handing tools and cleaning up.
That's a start. The space constraints didn't exist like in traditional robotic surgery in the past. The European Union says Facebook and Instagram are designed to be addictive, something most of us already know.
The European Union is accusing Meta of designing Facebook and Instagram to get people hooked, especially children, and it's demanding that Meta disable what it calls key addictive features, such as infinite scrolling and autoplay of videos. The EU's charges against Meta platforms are part of its investigation under the Digital Services Act, and it threatens hefty fines if tech platforms don't protect internet users. Meta says the preliminary findings do not recognize the steps the company has already taken to protect teens. It says its teen accounts automatically protect minors and put parents in control. I'm Donna Warder.
That's your CFAX News to 7:09.
Well, we're taking a look at a day that's going to be mainly cloudy. Highs of 20, a little cooler by the water, and right now already 15 degrees in Victoria. Let's talk about CFAX 1070 sports, and in the wide world of CFL football, we got some action with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers hosting the Toronto Argonauts tonight. Drew Brown will start as quarterback for the Bombers. Winnipeg will look to avoid suffering a third straight loss at home for the first time since 2016. And I had a text message here at 7:10:10 saying, hey, what about what happened last night? Well, Edmonton Elks defeated the Ottawa Red Blacks 40-17 in last night's CFL action as they kicked off the CFL week. In local stuff, the Victoria Harbour Cats went to overtime. Still, in the end, lost the game 7-6 to the Bend Elks, but they won the first 2 games of that series against the Elks, so there we go. Victoria Shamrocks in action. They host the Langley Thunder at the Q Centre. Shamrocks still topping the WA standings, heading into this one with 10 wins and 2 losses. 6:35 is the time at the Q Centre for that game. And Texter 71010 says, hey, Ryan and Lisa, both junior Shamrocks teams are in action tomorrow at the Q Centre. The Tier 1 Junior B squad hosts the Langley Thunder in Game 1 of their best-of-3 league semifinal. That's at 12:30. And the Junior A boys play their final regular home season. Their final regular season home game against Langley at 3:30. So there you go. Thank you very much for letting us know at 7:10:10. And over to the soccer. What's happening at the World Cup today? Well, Spain and Belgium are set to clash at the quarterfinals in Los Angeles. Spain coming off that 1-0 victory over Portugal, which sent them here, and Belgium handily beat the United States 4-1 to advance to this part. And the winner of this one will take on France, which beat Morocco yesterday 2-0. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports to 7:12. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Fresh Okanagan cherries. They're now in season at Thrifty Foods. Big, juicy, packed with sweet summer flavor. Picks them up today at Thrifty's. Okay, to the traffic and the weather. So we're continuing to follow the aftermath on the Malahat. The main incident with the truck taking down the power lines that took place yesterday afternoon is cleared, sort of, but they're still working on the power outages that are still there because of this, and there's still some aftermath. We have some single-lane traffic going through that area of the Malahat by Shawnigan Lake Road. It seems like it's moving okay, but you are slowing down and getting through that restriction there and then carrying on. So far, so good. But Shawnigan Lake Road itself is closed at that intersection of the Malahat. So I had this text at 7:10:10 saying, hey, my partner said Shawnigan Lake Road turnoff is closed. Had to drive all the way to Mill Bay to get around to work in Victoria. So if you do need the Shawnigan Lake connection, that's a problem. You got to detour around that. But the Malahat itself is moving. Just watch out for those obstructions. That's the kind of sense of things as we get through this morning. Let's get to the weather forecast. Mainly cloudy with a bit of breeze off the Juan de Fuca Strait today. Highs of 20, a little cooler by the windy water. Mainly cloudy tonight, lows down to 12, still breezy. Tomorrow, mainly cloudy, highs of 21, cooler by the windy water. So same kind of forecast is just playing out again. Very similar on Sunday as well. A mix of sun and cloud, highs of 20. Looking ahead into our long-range forecast, next week stays fairly sunny. In fact, it might get a little sunnier after a fairly overcast week this week. So maybe a little clearer and a little warmer as we head into next week. Right now for the temperatures, downtown, 15 degrees, and that's pretty much what we're seeing for most of Victoria. It is 17 in Colwood. Getting our first look at the markets, S&P TSX in Toronto starting the day up 110 points to 35,310. The Dow in New York is up 52 to 52,539. The NASDAQ is up 28 to 26,235. Canadian dollar at 70.6 cents US, which is basically exactly where it was yesterday.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
And it's 7:15. Which means it's news time. Lisa, what's going on?
Talking numbers and cents nationally and provincially. The national unemployment rate, 6.5% in June. Stats Canada says our economy continued to add jobs last month with a gain of some 18,000 positions. BC's Minister for Jobs and Economic Development, Ravi Kellam, will be live on CFAX later this hour at 7:50, talking about the local numbers. The average unemployment rate for major cities, according to Stats Can, Victoria at 4.4% in June, up from 4.1% in May. Nanaimo 7.4%, down from 8.5%, and Vancouver at 6.6%, a slight change from 6.7% in the month of May. The mother of a 22-year-old among those presumed drowned wants to know how it's possible for a charter operator not to realize sooner that one of its craft had sunk in the Strait of Georgia. Ashley Lynn said in an interview that she encountered the operator at the docks at the seaside neighborhood of Steveston early on the evening of the day of the sinking, more than 8 hours after the Top Ocean went down. The second vessel connected to Top Vancouver Fishing Charter is now under Transport Canada detention after last month's fatal sinking in the Georgia Strait. 10 people on board, 6 remain missing. And Sir Anthony Hopkins is out with a classical music single released today called Bracken Road. It's featured on the Oscar-winning actor's upcoming album, Life is a Dream. It's a collection of music he wrote over 60 years. It will be released August 21st on Decca Classics. That's your news to 7:17.
Thank you, Lisa. Coming up next on the show, we are going to be reaching out to the Mayor of Victoria. Marion Alto's joining us. A couple of things to talk about. There's a new building that's been approved.
Yes.
22 stories, which is Fisgard and Blanchard area. It's been sitting there as an empty lot for a while. It was going to be an office building, but people aren't building office buildings as much anymore. Everybody works from home, so they've switched this thing to kind of a homes. So we're going to find out more about that. But then there's another interesting thing happening. The Mayor of Victoria is kind of standing up for the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club. And if you've heard about this, you know what's going on. But if you don't, it's a compassion club that makes marijuana kind of baked goods and that kind of stuff for people who use it as pain for pain
management. Yeah.
Management, that's the word I'm looking for. And they've been doing this since long before legalization. Now there's been legalization. So why is now the time it's being cracked down on so hard? Well, because it doesn't quite fit into the guidelines. We've spoken to them a few times. As the way they put it, the way that the legalized marijuana goes, it's not strong enough. You can't have enough,
I can see that.
milligrams of the THC or whatever it is.
Yeah, to have an impact on the pain.
So they continue to serve stuff that meets the needs of their clients. Which is stronger, but isn't legal.
It's the radar.
And it's sort of funny that in a world of legalization, this Cannabis Buyers Club is actually getting cracked down on. It's just as hard, if not harder, than it used to be.
Yeah.
And now the Mayor of Victoria is kind of weighing in. So that's my rough understanding of the backstory. But Marion also is going to explain why she's decided to step in here in just a moment.
all your DIY exterior product needs, visit ProTech Exterior Products in person at 875 Viewfield Road or at beahomepro.com.
CFAX at 70 traffic and weather. Well, the biggest blip continues to be what's happening on the Malahat. It is all cleared, sort of. That's the short story, but the crash yesterday, which was the truck taking down the power lines at Shawnigan Lake Road on the Malahat, I mean, the crash stuff is all cleared up. The road is open, but it's sort of restricted as they continue to work on the power. There's still a power outage out there, so there's been single-lane alternating traffic, or I should say not alternating, just single-lane traffic going both directions. It's flowing. It's just you kind of got to slow down and watch out for that. The biggest hiccup seems to be that Shawnigan Lake Road itself is closed where it meets the Malahat, so if you're trying to take that, you got to go around and detour. For the weather forecast today, it's going to be a mainly cloudy day again today with a bit of wind off the Juan de Fuca Strait. Highs to hit 20 degrees. Right now it's 15.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, lots going on at the city of Victoria. We're reaching out to the mayor, Marion Alto, right now. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Ryan. Always delightful to speak with you.
And I'm going to say this right off the bat. We got a lot of stuff to get through, a lot of important things happening in the city. So I am going to try to be as fast as I can here and get right to a few of these issues. Okay. I'm not always the best because I always find these things fascinating to talk about. But let's do this real quick. 22-story building. Blanchard and Fisgard, it's been sitting there as this empty lot for a long time. It used to be an office tower that was planned there. Now it's changed. What got approved at council yesterday?
Yeah, you're right. You've hit it on the head there. 22 stories, 156 units of residential housing with some commercial on the ground floor. It was originally designed, and imagine this has been on the books since 2007, so it's quite a while. It was originally designed for office primarily with some residential, but of course the world has changed dramatically since then. And so they asked to have more residents than commercial, and that's why they had to come back. It is an absolutely stunning building. I don't know if you've seen any of the designs, but the unique part of it is not just the 22 stories, but the fact that every few floors there's what they call a sky garden. So on the corners, I believe it's every 4 floors, on one corner of the building, they actually have an open garden about the size of a small suite. So when you look at it from the outside, it looks like there are hanging gardens, and I can only imagine for the residents that will be living there that this will be a really unique opportunity for them to get outside space while they're actually in multiple floors above the ground. So it's a really unique, very beautiful design. It's going to add really important housing to the market, and it does recognize the fact that over the last few years in particular, the demands of downtown have shifted quite dramatically away from typical office space and towards the fact that we want to have more people living in the downtown neighborhood. So it's quite an exciting application to see finally come to fruition. And as you will note, it was very wildly supported by council.
Yeah, and one thing I think is interesting, too, is it seems like there's been a bit of a slowdown in this kind of housing being proposed or built or construction starting on it. So is this a sign of things turning around a little bit for downtown housing?
Yeah, I hope so. And you're absolutely right. There's been a bit of a lull for the last year or so, I think, as the markets have adjusted. One of the things that's interesting about this building is that you've seen the vast majority, anyway, of the housing that's being built in the last few years is being rental, which is really important. It's what very much needed. This one is actually a condominium, and we were all remarking on the fact that this is the first condominium complex that we've seen at this scale in quite a number of years. We could only think of one other that's happened actually in this term. So there's been a real preponderance of focus on rental housing, which, as I say, is really important, and that's been a good thing. And now seeing this added to the pool has really made a difference. We're continuing to focus on housing. This term has been primarily about that. And I think that we're seeing great progress, but we're nowhere near what we need for the next 20 years, which is reflected in our official community plan. But yeah, this is a great addition. It's unique in its design. It's in exactly the right place for a building of that height. It is surrounded by other buildings of similar stature, and so it's very much a sense of the redefinition, I guess, of what we're seeing in the north end of the downtown core is very much like this. And you're right, it's been around a long time. I remember actually when it was that dive shop years and years ago.
Yeah.
And so we've been waiting for a long time for this. It was called Gateway Green for a long time. I'm not sure if that's what they're going to keep calling it, but it's great to see this confidence by a developer and investors in that area of the downtown, and really pleased to see such a unique design. Can't wait to see it built.
There you go. Okay, Fisgard Street right along Blanchard there, as you mentioned, used to be the dive shop. There's an example of what it used to be. And I could keep talking about that. But like I said, I'm going to be good. I'm going to move on to our next topic, which is the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club. They've been in the news for years and years and years, and they continue to be in the news for this reason. They're getting cracked down on for what they do. Even though we've legalized marijuana use, the Compassion Club serves marijuana that is, I guess, stronger and different than what is in the legal framework. So they continue to get cracked down on. And now you have written a letter to sort of, I guess, give your support to them, asking for the enforcement to get halted. You've written to the minister involved at the BC level. Talk about what you've asked for and why you've decided to get involved.
Yeah. You started out with a good background there that the club's been around for years and years, and they have a very unique position where they provide ingredients for folks most of whom have quite significant diseases, chronic diseases or chronic conditions. And you're right, they do provide a different type of product. It is a product that requires medical recommendation, so this is not something that you or I could just walk in and go, hey, serve me or sell me or whatever. They are very specifically oriented to folks who need this as a medicinal product. They have been around for decades, actually, and have been remarkably civil in the way that they've dealt with a very small population, and have been also pretty much ignored by various orders of government since that time. And what's ironic about this for me is that those are always during the years where cannabis was not legal and not regulated. And despite that fact, they've had a fairly modest and fairly neutral relationship with various orders of government and enforcement agencies. And it is a great puzzle to me, I have to say, why it is that now, at a point where they have, as you all know, they've gone through various legal challenges and whatnot, and various precedents have been set with them as an example, as a model, and they are still in the midst of that. In fact, they're in the midst of a judicial review of various aspects of their ability to do what they do, and that has not been resolved. And so the multiple pieces for me here seemed ironic, is the best way to put it, I suppose, and difficult to understand in the rest of it. Since they're in the midst of a legal judicial review, since we're in a place where cannabis is legal and regulated, since they have a long history of serving community, since they have never been in a place where they've caused any type of community disruption, it's dramatically odd to me that the provincial government would crack down on them right now, given all of these circumstances. And so the letter that I wrote actually had two primary purposes. One was to solicit information from the province to say, why is this happening now, given all of these circumstances? And the other piece was to recognize and to elicit a little bit the story about how very many city councils in Victoria have been supportive of the club over the years. And that's significant because you obviously are aware that different terms of different councils have different people, and very eclectic people, may I say, in retrospect. And despite that diversity, or perhaps because of that diversity, councils for some years have been supportive of the club's operating within certain terms and rules and regulations, et cetera. But it just seems peculiar to me that given the reality of the days in which we're now living, that this should be a priority of the province for enforcement. And so my letter was essentially to say, how come now? Why? Please explain to me why. And let me reiterate that this and previous councils have written letters of support, have been public in their support. And yeah, it's just a puzzle to me, I have to say. And so I wrote to say, please help me understand why you're doing this now.
Well, that's an ongoing story that is still playing out, but we just wanted to get your sense of it and why you've decided to weigh in. And there you go. That answers the question. Thank you so much for speaking to us today. More we could have gotten to, as always, but we'll leave it there for now for time. But Marion Alto, Mayor of Victoria, thank you so much for talking to us today, and have a great weekend ahead.
Always a pleasure. You have a great weekend, too, and my best to your listeners.
All right, we'll take a break. We got the 7:30 news next.
This summer, 3 of Vancouver Island's biggest voices are coming together to make a real difference.
Get your tickets now for the Kids Count Mega Summer 50-50.
Brought to you by 107.3 Virgin Radio, CFAX 1070, and CTV.
In support of CFAX Santa's Anonymous all-new Kids Count program, supporting children beyond Christmas.
The Mega Summer 50-50.
Your chance to win big while giving back.
Buy your tickets today at CFAX1070.com.
Gaming event license 174660. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 7:32 on Friday, July 10th. It's going to be mostly cloudy today. Highs around 20 degrees. We're already at 15. Full forecast to come, but right now the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
The nurses' strike continues. That ongoing and escalating labor dispute is about to come to a hospital closer to you. BC Nurses Union President Adrian Gear was on CFAX earlier.
So we're going to initiate a picket line at the Victoria General this Sunday. And then we will initiate a picket line at the Nanaimo Regional General Hospital on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we will initiate picket lines at the Royal Jubilee Hospital and the South Island Surgical Center, which is actually located closer to VGH.
Essential services will remain in place throughout the job action to ensure urgent and emergency care continues. Adrian insists if you need help, go to emergency. Nurses will still care for you. Adrian Garrett said the union representing some 50,000 staff are prepared to escalate job action if no progress is made at the bargaining table, something she doesn't have a lot of hope for at the moment. Wildfire evacuees from Boston Bar gathering Chilliwack, where a shuttle driver, Charlie Sauer, is being forced to flee as well. He says this is devastating for his community. Sauer usually takes fellow residents to nearby communities for medical appointments, but the evacuation orders triggered by the Brunswick complex of fires have him on emergency duties. He said there's a sense of panic among residents, including himself, at the prospect of losing homes to fires that have been growing rapidly. Hundreds of properties still under evacuation or alerts due to out-of-control fires outside of Boston Bar, which is the Fraser Canyon area. We're learning that inmate that was found dead in the ocean off William Head Institution last month had a history of suicidal thoughts and self-harm. Times columnists say that he had monthly meetings with a psychologist for mental health issues. Ernest Jensen was 68 years old. He was serving a life sentence for second-degree murder when he disappeared during a count, setting off a manhunt launched and asking people in Machosen to watch out for him. Prime Minister Mark Carney wrapping up a quick trip in Saudi Arabia, defending his move as the first Canadian leader to visit that nation in 26 years. CTV's Graham Richardson is traveling with Mark Carney.
In French, Carney said he raised human rights with the Crown Prince, but called it a private conversation. And he made clear this is the way he will be managing these kinds of relationships around the world.
I do see that lecturing countries from afar is an ineffective strategy. It's satisfying, but it's ineffective.
The Prime Minister's office says as part of the trip, 13 new commercial agreements were inked between Canadian and Saudi corporations with a potential of more than $1 billion in value. And the U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra, is again making headlines for his comments and characterization of the prickly relationship between Canada and U.S. In an interview with CTV Vancouver, Hoekstra says both Canada and the U.S. share the blame for that strained relationship.
Some of the language that some of your premiers have used and some Canadians have used, there's fault to go around to both. You can be concerned, okay? I can't stop you from being concerned. I didn't think it'd take this long. Okay, I thought we'd be there already.
Hoekstra maintained that a nearly reached trade deal was blown up last fall, as he previously suggested. That was before Ontario Premier Doug Ford's anti-tariff ad campaign that aired in the U.S. There's been no update on trade talks since the July 1st deadline came and went to review CUSMA. And this has triggered an ongoing annual review process, which is still up in the air. That's your news to 7:35.
Have you made CFAX 1070 a preset on the new and improved iHeartRadio app?
iHeartRadio app? What about your favorite podcast, like The Vashi Capello Show?
Some great interviews for you with some big players.
With presets, everything you need is one tap away.
And with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, it's right there on your dashboard, so you can stay connected and informed on the road.
Find out what everyone's talking about.
Get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today
and listen to CFAX 1070.
Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. Do you think e-mobility transportation should have to be licensed similar to other vehicles? 90% saying yes on our website. On Twitter X, 79% agreeing. You can vote on social media, CFAX1070.com, also the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time, 7:37.
Speaking of the e-mobility scooters and things, that was funny because we talked to Nancy Sagar from the RCMP like a month or two ago.
Yeah.
And she was giving us the parameters around which ones you can use and where, and we learned a lot about the restrictions that are there. And it sounds like they still need to get that warning out there because they've been speaking out again, just reminding parents and guardians you need to be up to date on the rules because
ticketing works.
Ticketing works, but just to know, like, if you're under, what is it, 16?
16 for the scooters.
Yeah.
For the e-bike, it's 13 for certain bikes.
Yeah, there's all these different rules and stuff, but I think a lot of people see just kids on e-bikes.
They see it as toys.
Blasting around all the time. And so you wonder, well, there's these rules. What's happening with the enforcement or anything? And I guess they're trying to at least do more of the education bit.
And I understood because as a parent, you want to keep your child safe and you see it as a toy. And I've had friends of mine who have children, 12, 13, asking, would this be suitable? No.
Yeah.
Because they're actually very powerful. And if you ride one, you'll see. So that's why they're asking for scooters anyways, to be 16 and up.
Well, what do you think? You can let us know at CFAX1070.com. Over to the sports, where on the local scene, the Victoria Harper Cats baseball team went to overtime, went to extra innings, a 10th extra inning, in a showdown that ended with a 7-6 Bend Elks victory last night at Royal Athletic Park, Wilson's Group Stadium. But the Harper Cats take 2 out of the 3 games in that series, so they lost the last one in overtime, but they won the others. Victoria Shamrocks lacrosse team hosting the Langley Thunder at the Q Center. Shamrocks are in action with the senior team there, but there's also some junior action this weekend. Texter was letting us know both junior Shamrocks teams in action tomorrow at the Q Center. This is again tomorrow. Tier 1 Junior B squad hosting the Langley Thunder in game 1 of their best of 3 league semifinal at 12:30, and the Junior A boys play their final regular season home game at 3:30. So lots of Shamrocks lacrosse going on there. Over to the soccer. Let's talk about the FIFA World Cup matchup in the quarterfinals today. We got Spain and Belgium meeting in a showdown in Los Angeles. Spain coming off that 1-0 victory over Portugal. Belgium handily beat the United States 4-1 to advance. The winner will take on France, which yesterday beat Morocco 2-0. And that is your CFAX 1070 Sports, the 7:39. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps for a comfortable home no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. They're designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. On the roads, how are things up with the Malahat, everybody? If you're going by, let me know at 71010. If you can do it hands-free and safely. So here's how I can see it from here. Traffic is moving in both directions around about where that semi-truck hit the power line yesterday. There are restrictions because they're still working to restore power and kind of get things cleaned up. But the Malahat is moving in both directions. Just watch down as you kind of get funneled in through that Shawnigan Lake Road area because of the construction. Shawnigan Lake Road itself, though, still closed as far as we can tell at the Malahat. If you got any updates there, let us know. But if you do need to take that Shawnigan Lake Road to the Malahat direction, you got a detour around that. One of our listeners was saying they had to go all the way to Mill Bay and around to detour past that point. So let us know what it looks like if you happen to go by, and you can do it safely at 71010. But that's as far as we can tell. There's paving work on Cook Street This is the same spot as yesterday between Slater and Tolmie. It's going right until 7 p.m. Single lane alternating traffic there. It's the other blip we're watching on the morning commute. And for the weather forecast, mainly cloudy today. A little windy too, highs of 20. Cooler by the water. Tonight, mainly cloudy, lows to 12. Tomorrow, mainly cloudy, highs of 21. Cooler by the water. And Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, highs of 20. That is your weekend ahead. On the markets, S&P TSX in Toronto still making some gains, up 95 points at this hour to 35,296. The Dow is up 61 to 52,548. NASDAQ down 52 to 26,154. Canadian dollar at 70.6 cents U.S.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Ooh, lots going on the show today, Lisa.
Yeah.
It's been busy.
Platinum Crowbar.
Learning all kinds of things. We've got a couple of text messages I'd like to get to just on some of the various topics we've been talking about. One of the things we were talking about a few moments ago was the Mayor of Victoria writing a letter in support of the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club, which kind of still operates outside of the law, despite cannabis being legal in Canada now. The stuff they do to serve people who usually use it for pain management is a little stronger and a little different than what's allowed under the regulations, and they continue to do so because they say the legal stuff doesn't actually meet the needs of people who use it kind of for medicinal reasons.
Right.
This texter 71010 just wanted to add to that, saying, I have MS. Cannabis Buyers Club has helped me a lot. I drive down Pandora at least once a week, and yes, it is sad and ugly, and I'm aware many homeless have spread out through Victoria. Tears from Jane. I don't know if those two things are connected, though. I don't think they're...
No, I don't. I think that they could be separate and distinct.
Yeah.
But I do know with pain management, you got to get ahead of it and you got to stay ahead of it. And with that, I get that a larger dose of cannabis may be needed. And I think they do good work for people who need it for situations like hers, MS. Kudos to you for, take it on the chin, because every time we turn around, they're being raided.
Yeah, and that's why there's a story. They are continuing to get cracked down on. But again, it's a hard one because they are outside the law.
Yeah.
But,
I know.
And they always have been. They've always been fighting this fight. They were well outside of the law when marijuana was illegal, but now that it's legalized, they're still not quite fitting in.
So maybe we update the law for people with illnesses.
I guess that's
when you got a prescription.
I guess that's what you have to consider here. Is there a place for them? They continue to put up the fight and make the case, so we'll see what happens. But the mayor kind of weighing in, saying, hey, why are you cracking down on these guys?
I'm glad she stepped up for them.
Yeah. We also talked about that 22-story building that they approved. Texter saying, hey, I wonder if residents will be able to use the garden for their own purposes, or would flowers just be put there? We're talking about the fact that if you've looked at the rendering of this building, and we didn't get to talk about it too much with the mayor, it is interesting that they've got these little carve-outs in the building where instead of it being like a condo unit, there's just like this open space where...
Green space.
They'll put green space.
Love it.
But it's sort of scattered throughout the building, and you see these sometimes if you look at Asian cities. They're quite popular to do these, like...
Little urban
holes,
gardens.
Yeah, little holes in the buildings where there's greenery, and it's kind of interesting concept. So
I think so.
Yeah.
I like that. And from the outside, when you look at the mock-up of it, so you see from the outside, you see these little green spaces, and it creates some relief in the building. It's always a concern of mine when I see so many high-rises going up. I know we need the living space, but we can get creative with how it looks. Different kind of designs bring different builders in. And this one I don't mind, basically, for what you're saying. The fact that it has living space and green space, sort of those little urban garden, urban pockets of greenery built into it.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. If it goes up, it has been approved, so we'll see if it goes up. We'll see something interesting on the skyline. Hey, thanks for weighing in at 71010. Love it when you join the conversation. Right now to the headlines. Here's Lisa.
Well, Tsleil-Waututh Nation says it's going to court to try to overturn a plan to dredge the Burrard Inlet, which would allow for larger oil tankers to pass through. The nation says it's filed for judicial review in BC Supreme Court, aiming to overturn the permits issued by the Vancouver-Fraser Port Authority to allow the dredging to happen. It says the nation understands the importance of the project for Canadian trade, but the assessment process was rushed. And it didn't take into concerns about oil spill risks and other threats to the environment. The Port Authority issued last month the dredging permits that would allow for the accommodation for larger and fuller oil tankers to load from the Trans Mountain Pipeline in Burnaby. If you bought beef in the last decade, so most of us putting our hand up there, you could be eligible to receive a class action money from a class action lawsuit. The courts will decide later this year whether a multi-million-dollar proposal settlement in the beef price-fixing class action lawsuit will proceed. Lawyers behind the class action says a group of companies accused of conspiring to fix the price of beef had agreed to pay nearly $8 million. The suit is similar to the one settled in 2024, that one for $500 million. That was linked to the price fixing of bread. And if you remember, that one paid out about $50 per person. In the LA Rams will celebrate their 5th anniversary of their most recent Super Bowl victory in a unique fashion. The team announced it's giving away replica championship rings to the first 60,000 fans who attend the Week 6 game against the Arizona Cardinals. The limited edition rings will also include an undisclosed special feature. Ooh, stand by. That's your news to 747.
Thank you, Lisa. Coming up next, we're going to be talking to BC's Minister of Jobs and the Economy because, as you've been hearing with Lisa in the news, Statistics Canada reported today that employers added 18,000 jobs last month across the country. This is the nationwide number, mostly in part-time work and private sector work. That pushed the unemployment rate down 1/10 of a point to 6.5%. So we're back where we were in January. StatsCan also says youth aged 15 to 24 adding 33,000 jobs in June, mostly part-time work, but youth employment has been a big story as well. Again, this is all the national numbers. How did BC do in all of this? That's what we'll ask the minister in charge next.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Broadway Victoria presents Kinky Boots, coming to Royal Theatre from July 7th through 12th. Get your tickets at rmts.bc.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe.
Everyone wants to know about real estate. Is the market going up or down? Time to buy or sell? How can government programs and policies affect you? Hear from local experts on topics like appraisal, inspection, investment, and others on how to maximize your real estate sale.
Providing info on everything you needed to know about real estate. The Whole Home Show with Tony Joe. Saturdays at noon on CFAX 1070.
CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. Shawnigan Lake Road still closed at the Malahat as they continue to work out the aftermath of that semi-trailer into the power lines thing that happened yesterday afternoon. Malahat itself is moving, but the Shawnigan Lake Road connection is still closed. Paving work on Cook Street. This is the same as yesterday. It's single lane alternating between Slater and Tolmie on Cook Street right until 7 p.m. tonight. And in the weather forecast, we're looking at a mainly cloudy day, a little wind off the water. It's 15 degrees right now, heading towards a high of 20, but do expect it to be cooler by the windy Juan de Fuca Strait.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, StatsCan says Canada added some jobs last month overall. The youth summer jobs market also helping buoy the numbers, which is good because youth employment has been a big topic of conversation recently. But those are the national numbers. What about BC? What are we doing in this province? Well, the person in charge of that is BC's Minister for Jobs and Economic Development, Ravi Kahlon, who's joining us on the line. Sir, how you doing?
Good morning, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Great to talk to you. So there is the national picture. We've got an employment rate of 6.5%. It's kind of pushed down a little bit. We added 18,000 jobs last month. What about British Columbia? What are the numbers there?
Yeah, no, we saw some really positive gains here in British Columbia, just under 8,000 new jobs added to the market. And, the good news here is that this is a couple of months now of very positive direction. We've led the country in the last 2 months in job gains. We did have a challenging start of the year and starting to see all these jobs come back. And as you highlighted, I think the biggest thing for us is the youth employment numbers are starting to really move up, and we've seen a significant decrease in youth unemployment. Still a little higher than we want, but definitely heading in a better direction.
What's changing to make that happen?
Well, I think we're starting to see a little bit of pickup in the economy. It helps that, we've had the FIFA World Cup. We've had a lot of activity. A lot of restaurants are busy, and not just in Vancouver. We're seeing activity everywhere in Victoria and Langford, up in Kelowna and Kamloops. The list goes on. So I think we're seeing a bit of a pickup with hospitality and accommodation because of that. And we're also starting to see some really positive signs in the economy generally. There's been a lot of big investments that have been announced, and all of that gives, I think, employers more confidence that things are heading in the right direction.
I always like to look at this number, even though I understand that statistically, because the numbers get so small, it's not always the best representation of reality. But Victoria's unemployment rate did go up a little bit in this latest StatsCan report. We were at 4.1%. We've gone up to 4.4%. Do you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, Victoria's got the lowest unemployment rate in not only in British Columbia, but one of the lowest in the country. And so, yes, there was a slight shift in the numbers. But as you highlighted, this is a survey. And so, we do see small bumps every kind of month to month. What we really try to follow is the trend line. And so far, the trend line for Victoria in the region is very, very low unemployment, pretty much the envy of the country, I would say.
When the StatsCan national report came out this morning, it said that part-time work, kind of led by wholesale and retail, trade, also the food and accommodation sectors, they seem to be the sectors that saw the most growth. Is that what we saw in BC as well?
Yeah, that's certainly the lead here. We have seen an increase in construction in some parts of the province. That's directly connected to some of the major projects that have been announced. We've got billions of dollars of kind of economic development projects that are happening throughout the province, and those are good paying jobs, often union paying jobs. And so that's being reflected in the numbers as well.
So that's the state of last month, according to StatsCan, and the jobs picture in BC. A bit of a positive trend continues is what we're looking at for the province and for the country. Can I ask you about a couple of other huge things in the news this week that might have jobs implications down the road? We've had news about pipelines and submarines, and both of these seem to have big job economic implications for BC and locally here in Victoria. Actually, maybe I'll start there. So the submarine announcement from the federal government, which sort of kicked off the week, announcing that the German bid is the preferred bid. We're going to continue negotiating. As soon as that came out with the Prime Minister in Halifax, we had a news conference here at CFB Esquimalt where they were talking about, hey, we're going to be adding a bunch of jobs here. We got to build this submarine maintenance facility on the Colwood side of Esquimalt Harbor. And they were talking about all of the jobs that were going to come out of this. Is that something you're also following?
Yeah, part of our Look West economic strategy was really, setting the groundwork for the submarines investments, as well as some of the ships contracts that the federal government's going to have to procure very soon. And so a lot of our work has been building to really make the case for why this should happen. And so we're very pleased. Of course, it would have been great to have either of the two proponents be picked, but having the German one picked is fantastic. And this is big news, in particular for Victoria and for the region. Looking at, of course, it's about $100 billion for the contracts. That's a lot of money, but those are submarines that will be procured from Germany. But I think the big benefit for us in the region is $10 to $20 billion of investment just in the infrastructure. So that's going to be upgrading a lot of infrastructure, dry dock capacity. With that come thousands of jobs for both on two parts, one in the construction phase, but also in the maintenance of all these submarines. So, we're going to have to start skilling people up. And part of the work we're doing now is created tables so that we can have industry and our academic partners so we can figure out how we're going to give young people the skills they need to take on all these jobs.
So even though those submarines are still kind of coming down the road, work is already beginning now to try to figure out how to meet the need.
Correct. Yeah, we have to build the infrastructure, and that's going to take us a couple of years for sure. And then as well, once the submarines start arriving in a couple of years, we're going to need to train people up for all the maintenance, because all the maintenance will happen here. It'll happen in Victoria. It'll happen in Colwood. And so that means that, you have to have the skilled workforce to do that work. And that's 40, 50 years of work. It's really rare right now, as you know, in this labor market for people to be able to get into a career and then think, hey, I can stay here for a long time. Well, these types of jobs, you can literally see yourself get into employment and actually be in the same place for 30, 40 years of your career. So it's an exciting opportunity, and we're really looking forward to continue our work to advance this.
And really quickly to the pipeline. So Alberta has this southern route that they want to do. The federal government's on board. We have to see if anything actually happens, but that's where we're at. Premier Eby saying, "I don't have to like it, but I'm not going to fight it." I'm paraphrasing greatly here and summarizing and glossing over a lot of important details. But all of the arguments aside, if this thing happens, apart from just building a pipeline and then the construction being over, are we expecting this to create jobs in BC?
Oh, there'll definitely be a lot of jobs created in BC. And, if you look at between the pipeline construction, between, the contracts with the submarines, which is billions of dollars, you've got also we announced just earlier this week that Teck Resources will be processing critical minerals that are needed in the defense space in the interior, in the Kootenays. Like billions of dollars. So there's so much happening right now that leaves me optimistic. And of course, with the pipeline construction, there's going to be a lot of employment created. And you've done a good job of summarizing. We had an agreement, an MOU with the federal government. They've agreed to make significant investments in British Columbia, some clear commitments. And in the end, the pipeline is going to be something that they're going to have to navigate. It crosses interprovincial barriers. It crosses into provinces, which means it's very much in the federal government's hands.
Ravi Kahlon is BC's minister responsible for jobs and the economy. Thank you so much for joining us today and walking us through some of the jobs news this week. We got lots. We got the StatsCan report. We got these big projects announced. What'll it mean for us here in BC? Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Stay safe and talk soon.
We'll take a break. 8 o'clock news next on CFAX.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
It's 8:01 on Friday, July 10th. Good morning. We are looking at a mostly cloudy day, but decently warm. In fact, already feeling some of that warmth right now. We're sitting at 16 degrees at the Victoria International Airport. Full forecast to come right now. The news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
We still have more than 500 BC Hydro homes and businesses without power, 16 hours and counting now. Since around 3:30 yesterday, the power was knocked out. It was a semi hitting a power pole, a hydro pole, but brought down some lines as well. The aftermath of that collision in the Malahat closed the intersection near Shawnigan Lake Road for a number of hours as the investigation continued, and BC Hydro crews had to come in too. They now say that the damage is extensive and the replacement of those power poles may be necessary, so more crew may need to be brought in. This is 519 BC Hydro customers remain without power, and Shawnigan Lake Road also remains closed at the Malahat for that work that they're doing. The ongoing and escalating BC nurses strike is coming to Vancouver Island on the weekend. BC Nurses Union President Adrian Gear was on CFAX earlier.
So we're going to initiate a picket line at the Victoria General this Sunday. And then we will initiate a picket line at the Nanaimo Regional General Hospital on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we will initiate picket lines at the Royal Jubilee Hospital and the South Island Surgical Center, which is actually located closer to VGH.
But the nurses say essential services will remain in place throughout the job action to ensure urgent and emergency care continues for you. Adrian says the union represents some 50,000 nurses, and they are prepared to escalate job action further if there's still no progress at the bargaining table. A BC fishing charter company boasting on social media about its two vessels going out together and making a big haul of fish. But this happened about 2 hours after one of the boats sank, which had 10 people on board and 6 are still missing.
A social media post uncovered by the Canadian press is raising new questions about the timeline of a fatal fishing charter sinking off Vancouver. The Top Ocean went down in the Strait of Georgia around 10:45 a.m. on June 28th, but the first Mayday call did not reach authorities until roughly an hour later. Ashley Lynn, the mother of the vessel's 22-year-old captain, says she wants to know why the operator of Top Vancouver Fishing Charter, who is aboard a larger nearby boat, did not realize sooner that the Top Ocean had sunk. Now the operator has declined to comment publicly. David Augustine, the Canadian Press.
Numbers and cents. Stats Canada says our economy continued to add jobs in June, a gain of 18,000 positions. That was enough to edge unemployment rate down a tenth of a point to 6.5%.
Job growth was primarily in part-time work last month and led by the wholesale and retail trade industry and food and accommodation sector. Youth saw a better start to the summer job market this year with a gain of 33,000 positions for workers aged 15 to 24. Manufacturing, meanwhile, led losses and is down some 61,000 jobs since a recent peak in January 2025 because of U.S. tariffs. The June jobs report is the Bank of Canada's last major look at the economy before its next interest rate decision on Wednesday. Michelle Zedekian, the Canadian Press.
As you just heard from the minister involved, the average unemployment rate for Victoria, 4.4% in the month of June, up from 4.1% in May. Nanaimo at 7.4%, a larger drop from 8.5%. And a modern-day Watergate underway in Washington. Lawyers for the former Olympian charged with apparently vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, preparing to fight his case in court. David Hearn, who's in his 60s, pleaded not guilty to the Justice Department, accusing him of causing more than $1,000 in damage.
Hearn told me that he simply touched a part of the blue coating that was already partially detached, telling me, quote, "I did not remove, I did not damage, I did not rip, tear, break, destroy, or harm any part of the reflecting pool." His lawyer says every American is at risk and should be alarmed by his prosecution, and now 3 more have pleaded not guilty who have been charged with damaging the pool as well.
Hearn's lawyer calls him a scapegoat. He was arrested 3 weeks ago after the U.S. president repeatedly blamed vandals for the issues plaguing that pool without providing any firm evidence. That's your news to 8:06. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking if you think e-mobility transportation should be licensed similar to other vehicles. 90% saying yes on our website. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best. Your news time is 8:07.
Thank you, Lisa. We'll check traffic and weather in just a moment, but I'll let you know that it's going to be a cloudy day, a little wind off the water, and it started off a little warm. We didn't cool off quite as much overnight, so about 15 degrees to 17 degrees was just the lowest we got, and that's kind of where we're at now. Eventually climbing up to 20. So that's your day. Full forecast to come. CFAX 1070 Sports, though. Let's kick it off with the World Cup report.
This is your TSN Radio FIFA World Cup 2026 update.
I'm John Rodenberg. France is through to the semifinals for a third straight World Cup. They did so with a dominant 2-0 win over Morocco, highlighted by who else?
Mbappe! Simply irrepressible. He insists on his moment.
Kylian Mbappe with his tournament-leading 8th goal to open the scoring in the 60th minute, and 6 minutes later, France added a second goal to put the game out of reach. Morocco mustered just a single shot to France's 8. France will get the winner of today's second quarterfinal between Spain and Belgium, which kicks off at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, the other two semifinalists will be determined when England plays Norway and Argentina faces Switzerland. You can watch the FIFA World Cup matches on TSN, CTV, Crave, and streaming at tsn.ca. Listen on the TSN Radio Network with all games streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
There you go. Quick look at other things going on in local sports at the Royal Athletic Park, Wilson's Group Stadium. It was a 10-inning showdown between the Victoria Harbour Cats and the Bend Elks last night. In the end, the Bend Elks squeak it out 7-6. And that's one win out of 3, though, for the Elks, because the Harbour Cats took the other 2 games of that series. Victoria Shamrocks hosting the Langley Thunder tonight at the Q Center. And the Tier 1 Junior B Shamrocks are hosting the Langley Thunder in Game 1 of their best-of-3 league semifinal at 12:30 tomorrow. Junior A boys also playing their final regular season home game at 3:30 tomorrow as well. That's your CFAX Sports to 8:09. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Fresh Okanagan cherries are in season at Thrifty Foods. They're big, juicy, packed with sweet summer flavor. Pick some up today. It's, cherries are great all the time.
Very good.
But the Okanagan cherries,
oh yeah,
when they're in season, there's just nothing like that.
They sigh a little when you bite into them.
Oh, cherries. Traffic. Let's see. Okay, let's go there.
Let's unpack.
It's bad. The Malahat's moving.
Yeah.
Shawnigan Lake Road is not. So Shawnigan Lake Road, where it meets the Malahat, still closed. They're still working on restoring power and just getting things cleaned up after that big truck hit the power lines yesterday afternoon and completely closed the Malahat for the afternoon commute yesterday. It's moving now. Just you will see some obstructions of the Malahat. Shawnigan Lake Road remains closed, which is a bit of a kick because you got to get kind of all the way around to detour around that. It's a bit of a jog. For the rest of the commute, it's looking pretty normal other than that paving work still on Cook Street until 7 p.m. between Slater and Tolmeets. It's the same as yesterday, single lane alternating traffic through there. The weather forecast is going to be kind of like the last few days, mainly cloudy. We've got wind off the water. We'll see a high of 20 degrees. It's already a little warm though with a 15 to 17 degree kind of temperature spread across Greater Victoria right now. For instance, in Oak Bay, that's where we got 15 degrees. But in Brentwood Bay, it's already 18. Kind of right around Butchart Gardens. And for the weekend, it's looking much the same. Mainly cloudy, maybe clearing up a little bit on Sunday. Temperatures around about 20. It will warm up and clear up a little bit as we get further into next week in our long-range forecast. On the markets, S&P TSX up 71 points at this hour to 35,272. The Dow is up 55 to 52,543. Canadian dollar at 70.7 cents U.S., which is up a tenth of a cent from yesterday's close.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
One of the things I've been thinking about in the news is the food truck vandalism we've been hearing out of Royal Athletic Park. We just talked about the Harbour Cats there.
Yes.
And if you go to see one of the baseball games, one of the great parts of seeing the baseball game is they got that whole line of food trucks.
And they even put out a list ahead of time what the menu is going to be going into the games so you can prepare for that.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, they got the regular concession stand as well, but then there's all these food truck options. But here's the problem. They are getting repeatedly broken into. This is what we're hearing out of both the food truck owners, Royal Athletic Park tenants. The Victoria Harbour Cats have been talking about this. Anna McMillan with CTV Vancouver Island went out and was speaking to a bunch of these folks just to sort of get a sense of the story yesterday. And she spoke to Josh and Jade on the afternoon show.
Yeah, so it sounds like from the team, there have been about 7 break-ins since their baseball season began, I believe in early June or maybe late May.
Wow.
And it seems like they continue. Apparently, there were break-ins on Sunday and Monday night, and the park has been damaged, but the real focus is on the food trucks, which every single one of them has been hit at least once. Yep. Most of them twice. And all of them have been damaged, some worse than others. Some it's just cosmetic. Others have had, their latches on their doors sawed off, and then they can't close their door. And it's very interesting because one of the food truck owners said, she's like, I don't really get what they're trying to steal from us because there's not really anything valuable. There's no cash left overnight. This is the woman who owns Cuparoni. She said they stole pop, candy, and some tools from their food truck. So it's really just a huge inconvenience. And then, of course, there is the cost of having to patch up the damage.
Yeah, the expense and the frustration and headache it causes just so somebody can come and steal pop from your food truck. It's just
Well, that's someone looking for spare change. It's the same reason why someone would break your car window for spare change and whatever they can find inside. So extra security is needed.
Well, and that's the sort of follow-up here is what's going to happen. Like if you have every single one of these food trucks has now experienced a break-in and it's happening over and over again, you got to do something. So apparently the Victoria Parks and Recreations Department is sort of talking about reviewing the security with the Harbour Cats and looking into it. In the meantime, the Victoria Police have apparently installed cameras right there where the food trucks are, so that they can try to catch what's going on.
Right.
Apparently there's no security personnel overnight.
Which is kind of surprising, but maybe, when you don't think you should have to guard the Coke and Pepsi,
well, yeah,
you're not going to pay for security. But it may have to happen just to keep, this from reoccurring, at least for a while. Maybe it is one person doing it and they'll move on if a security guard's in place. Having cameras is a good start, but if someone's got a hoodie with a ball cap and glasses on, you're never going to make out possibly who they are unless you know someone on the street that really matches the description.
Well, we'll see where it goes. But yeah, cameras installed by the police. They're working on it. Maybe security getting reviewed at Royal Athletic Park after overnight break-ins of the food trucks has just been happening repeatedly. Well, thanks again to Anna McMillan from CTV Vancouver Island for sharing some of the story with us there. Okay, over to the rest of the news headlines. Here's Lisa.
More than 500 BC Hydro outages remain in place this hour of the Malahat. They've been off since 3:30 yesterday afternoon, so we're talking well into the 16-hour stretch. The aftermath of a collision on the Malahat near Shawnigan Lake Road. A large vehicle took out a hydro pole, closing the route, knocking out power to many in the region. BC Hydro says the damage is pretty extensive, and they're going to have to require the replacement of the poles, and that means more crew may need to be brought in. So as a result, Shawnigan Lake Road remains closed at the Malahat. A lot of people having to take a detour around, so buy yourself some extra time if you're headed in that direction. A West Virginia man is the 8th person to be indicted for allegedly plotting an attack on the UFC fight at the White House last month. Court documents reveal that Chandler Skaggs is the latest to face charges. A 21-year-old allegedly planning to act as one of the snipers at the event. The foil plan reportedly involved using drones to distract the crowd while snipers would shoot people fleeing. 5 people arrested the weekend of the event. 2 others caught the following week. The indictment charges all 8 suspects with conspiracy to provide materials to support terrorists, conspiracy to commit murder on federal government territory, and to murder a federal government official. And if you like Barbie, well, she's on your next stamp. She's been a doctor, pilot, even ran for president, and now she's getting a postage stamp, at least in the U.S. The U.S. Postal Service partnering with Mattel for this collection. 10 stamps featuring 10 different iconic careers, even a soccer player's in there. The release coincides with the National Barbie Doll Convention, the Collectors Convention underway in Austin, Texas. The Barbie's Forever stamps available at post offices nationwide starting on the weekend. So if you're a collector, you might want to pick those up from the States. That's your news to 8:18.
Thank you, Lisa. It's a huge weekend for music because the Phillips Backyarder is happening. It starts tonight, and then there's a Saturday and a Sunday show. Big acts coming tonight. One of the big headliners is Chance the Rapper. Tomorrow, Father John Misty, as well as local musicians John and Roy will be there.
Yes.
Sunday, Modest Mouse, huge indie musician, is going to be there. But there's something else happening at the Phillips Backyarder this weekend, which I think is making it stand out, not just locally, but it's become a very sought-after ticket for a particular act that maybe you didn't see coming.
Probably not.
And
it's the beauty of festivals, right?
So after the show yesterday, I was explaining, Lisa, this to you. This particular act that became a viral sensation on the internet.
I'm still wrapping my head around it.
And I want to explain what I'm talking about in just a moment. And because I don't think this festival, this Phillips Backyarder, is ready for what's about to happen.
I would agree after what you showed me yesterday.
Okay. I'll explain after traffic and weather. Hey, CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season, big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. They're designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. It's kind of the same thing. You know, in traffic, we've just had it all morning. The Malahat is moving after the big thing yesterday with the hydro lines coming down and the truck hitting them and the full closure of the Malahat through the afternoon commute. It is moving, but it's not fully unaffected because you got to slow down a little bit as you get past where they're still working on the power outages because they're still trying to solve all of this. But traffic is flowing just a little slow through the Shawnigan Lake Road area. But it's moving fine. Like there's no big backups or delays. You won't have much trouble getting through it. The problem is that Shawnigan Lake Road is still closed at the Malahat. So if you need that connector to kind of get over to the Shawnigan Lake community and beyond, well, you can't use that right now. You're going to have to detour around that. For the weather forecast, mainly cloudy today. We do have slightly cooler temperatures by the water, as we have had all this week because of the wind blowing off the water. If you could straight, high of 20, 16 by the water. Mainly cloudy tonight, lows to 12, still breezy. Tomorrow looks exactly the same. It's just the same forecast. Sunday maybe clearing up a little bit, highs of 20, and then clearing up a little bit into next week. Maybe a few less clouds. It's been quite overcast at times, at least for the last few days. A little sunnier into next week, maybe a little warmer too. Right now, for the official temperature in Victoria, it is 16 degrees at the airport. In Langford right now, it is 17.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
It's one of the big concert festivals for the Victoria area this summer. It's the Phillips Backyarder in literally the backyard of the Phillips Brewery. They call it that for a reason. It's taking place tonight and then Saturday and Sunday.
Yes.
It sometimes has been over 2 weekends. They've consolidated it into one weekend. And I want to talk about a specific thing that's happening during the Backyarder.
Okay, something you know and love.
So when the tickets went on sale for this thing, because you can buy a single day, you can buy a Friday or Saturday or Sunday, or you can buy a full weekend pass.
Got it.
Do you know what sold out instantly?
Yes.
The Sunday.
Why?
Because Phillips somehow managed to snag a viral internet sensation at their festival. I don't even know if they knew it at the time. They might have blown up after they'd been booked.
Well, that's what you'd said, right?
Yeah.
The timing was perfect to book this group.
Perfect timing to get a group called Angine de Poitrine. Does anybody listening know? Have you heard of this? Have you experienced this?
I got educated yesterday.
Because you hadn't, and some people haven't. But so let me tell you, there was a moment on the internet a couple of months ago where the thing to do was to videotape yourself showing a video of Angine de Poitrine to somebody and putting the reaction up online. So that was the meme, if you will.
Okay.
It was just reaction videos of people being exposed for the first time to this group. Why would anybody do this? Well, it's a Montreal group. They're from Quebec. Angine de Poitrine. It's a French name. It makes sense.
I don't really know who they are.
They are in costumes.
Right.
They're dressed up like polka dot aliens with big dangly noses. And there's only 2 of them.
Right.
And I'm going to play you a little bit of what they sound like here,
Okay.
just for context. But just the sound of it is only half of the experience. So it's radio. It's too bad. But just imagine these goofy-looking guys in these costumes dressed like aliens with polka dots.
Are they guys? We confirm that they're actually men or women?
They are. I think they're
okay.
guys.
They even got their hands polka dotted.
Yeah, everything. And it's okay. This is a bit of what's going on. So the music itself is already kind of interesting.
Kind of fun, funky, yeah.
And it's one of the things, there's only 2 of them.
Yeah.
So there's one guy on the guitar and a bass. There it goes, picks up there. And he's layering it, so he's like using a little loop pedal, they call them.
Yeah.
They're for recording.
Looping, yeah.
So he like plays one thing and records, and then it keeps playing back, and he builds on it, and then the drummer goes for it. His guitar has all these extra frets, more so than a regular guitar, so he can play a scale that isn't the normal 7-note Western music scale.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons it also sounds a little weird. Like it's called microtonal. He's playing different notes.
There's no vocals.
No vocals, except sometimes they make weird squawk noises. So that happens.
And they've got a massive following.
Huge. They played at the Montreal Jazz Festival just a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week.
Right.
There were like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people just jamming the streets of Montreal. It caused chaos.
Did they have to close the festival?
Well, they had to
when they sold out?
Yeah, it was well beyond sold out. I don't think they said that they hadn't experienced anything like this before.
Well, Montreal is a huge festival.
And I mean, I don't think we're going to see that because this is a closed ticketed event of the Phillips Backyarder, but just the amount of draw these people have, most people have never even heard of it.
So we're holding a golden ticket if you've got something
for Sunday. If you got a ticket, this is going to be the thing to see. It's so weird.
And do we know anything about these performers?
Well, they keep up this alien act. When they do media interviews, they say nonsense words, and they have their manager translate for them. I do know that they're just a couple of musicians from Quebec. They've been around for a long time.
But they can walk down the street and no one is probably going to be aware of who they are.
They were doing
That's good fame.
They were doing this already for a while, but it's just the fact that they became this internet sensation. And all of a sudden, around the world, all of these videos were being out, and the video would be like this, and you can search for this. You just show somebody the video of them performing, and you videotape the reaction of the person watching, and you just see the confused look on the faces of like, what am I even watching?
And that's what went viral.
Yeah.
Not the music.
Yeah, is the reaction,
reaction
to the music.
to it.
The reaction to the music.
All
And
right.
can I say one other thing?
Of course you can.
This is my own personal theory
Yes.
also as to why this got so popular.
Mm-hmm.
Is AI music is becoming a big subject of conversation.
True.
Because
yes.
we're getting these AI created artists.
Yes.
So you listen to a song that comes onto your Spotify or whatever, and it could be that there's no humans involved. This was just an AI algorithm trying to create the perfect, I don't know, polished.
Yes, we see it with every genre now.
Music.
It's coming up in my Facebook feed all the time.
And then this, just in the midst of all of that, and everybody experiencing all of this kind of bland, AI generated music, this happens.
Yeah.
Which is so weird. No AI would ever create this. Like, nobody would, this is so unique and strange.
But they're not going to be able to perform on stages.
It's just like, it's a human expression of something bizarre and new and different that I think was really refreshing at a time that everybody was depressed about AI music. I think that's one of the reasons this has gotten so big.
I like the theater that this creates because it does get into this. It's not unlike what Kiss did with rock, always being in costume. And then when they took the costume on, people told them, no, put it back on.
Yeah.
You're better, it's more of a theatrical effect with you in costume. And these two are very theatrical. It's fun. It's comical. It's light, as this kind of music should be.
Yeah, Trevor at 71010 text. The Quebec duo Angine de Poitrine had 200,000 people show up at Montreal last week. This is what I'm talking about. They are one of the biggest things going right now, if you know. And they're coming to Victoria at the Phyllis Backyarder on Sunday. I'm really curious to see how that all plays out. That's what I wanted to say. And just to explain a little bit, because if you haven't heard or seen these videos on the internet, you might have no idea what I'm talking about.
And then the name, too, is not something that rolls
weird.
off the tongue.
The whole thing is weird. But it's
we like weird. It's Victoria.
I hope I did an okay job of explaining.
I thought you did pretty good there. You've got to pull them up, though, because you'll never forget the polka dots.
You got to see it to understand it. And
I like that.
Thank you for joining me on this journey, Lisa. And I'm glad you enjoyed me showing you yesterday.
I didn't know. You'd mentioned them when they first came out, and you were all excited. I'm like, what?
What? Who's this? What?
And so then, you educated me yesterday, but he didn't record my reaction, which was nice.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Make them more famous.
We'll take a break. We'll get the news next to 8:30 News with Lisa. And then, Lisa, we got Dallas and the Vic Food Guys joining us.
Excellent. I'm hungry.
He's got so much to tell us about food things going on in the city. So that is all ahead, still on the show.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Broadway Victoria presents Kinky Boots, coming to Royal Theatre from July 7th through 12th. Get your tickets at rmts.bc.ca. Catch all the excitement of summer baseball with the Victoria Harbour Cats. More info at harbourcats.com. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 8:32 on Friday, July 10th. It is going to be a mainly cloudy day. It's 16 degrees already. Full forecast to come right now. The news begins with Lisa Best.
Thank you. The national unemployment rate clocked in at 6.5% in June. Stats Canada says our economy continued to add jobs that month with a gain of 18,000 positions. The average unemployment rate for BC cities, or for major cities, locally, Victoria, 4.4%. That's up from 4.1% in May. Nanaimo at 7.4%, down from 8.5%. And Vancouver clocked in at 6.6%, a slight change from 6.7% in the month of May. More than 500 BC Hydro customers remain without power this hour up the Malahat. They've had power knocked out around 3:30 yesterday, so this is 17 hours and counting for them. The aftermath of a collision on that route near Shawnigan Lake Road, which involved a large truck hitting a hydro pole, closing the route, knocking out power to many across the region. It's down to 519, but still, the 17 hours is a long time without power. BC Hydro crews are on it. They're saying the damage is extensive, though, and this requires replacement of the power poles, so more crew are coming in to help deal with this. A pair of fires burning near Boston Bar have now destroyed several buildings and forced the evacuation orders for hundreds of properties. This comes as federal officials say this wildfire season has been manageable so far, largely due to significant rainfall across Western Canada. Fernando Blatanta is visiting a friend in Boston Bar. Said the situation is nerve-wracking.
Kids and just making sure that everybody's okay. So I'm afraid for everybody. I'm not too concerned. I know that at the end of the day we got to evacuate, but I feel really bad for everybody's property and I know that a lot of people have their dogs locked up there.
The latest information from the Canada Interagency Forest Fire Centre shows there's been 3,100 fires so far this season across Canada, compared to about 2,900 around this time last year. Here in BC, we have 17 wildfires burning, 2 wildfires of note, which are the 2 that are out of control burning in the mainland, and 2 have started in the last 24 hours. We have no new fires burning on Vancouver Island. The European Union tells us something we already know, that Facebook and Instagram are designed to be addictive.
The European Union is accusing Meta of designing Facebook and Instagram to get people hooked, especially children, and it's demanding that Meta disable what it calls key addictive features, such as infinite scrolling and autoplay of videos. The EU's charges against Meta platforms are part of its investigation under the Digital Services Act, and it threatens hefty fines if tech platforms don't protect internet users. Meta says the preliminary findings do not recognize the steps the company has already taken to protect teens. It says its teen accounts automatically protect minors and put parents in control. I'm Donna Water.
And that is your CFAX News to 8:35. Our CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking you if you think e-mobility transportation should be licensed, similar to the way other vehicles are. 90% say yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com. Also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best. Your news time is 8:36.
Thank you, Lisa. It's going to be a mainly cloudy day today, eventually getting to a high of 20s. Almost there, actually. The temperatures are, in some places, 18 around Victoria. We just never really cooled off as much last night. But anyways, we'll get to that forecast. What's happening in sports? The World Cup of Soccer, of course, continues. We will see Spain and Belgium meet in the quarterfinals. They're going to be playing in Los Angeles. Spain coming off a 1-0 victory over Portugal. Belgium beat the United States 4-1 to advance. The winner will take on France. And France yesterday beat Morocco 2-0. So that was the first match of the quarterfinal round in France, the first team to emerge from it. We have in baseball, Shane Bieber taking the mound tonight as the Toronto Blue Jays open up a 3-game series in San Diego against the Padres. Toronto coming off back-to-back wins over San Francisco, including their big 10-0 win on Wednesday. The Victoria Harbour Cats fought to the bitter end in a 10-inning showdown that ended with a 7-6 Bend Elks victory. The Bend Elks got one, but the Shamrocks, the Harbour Cats took 2 of the 3 games. I will talk about the Shamrocks now because they are going to be hosting the Langley Thunder tonight at the Q Center. Shamrocks still topping the WLA standings. With 10 wins and 2 losses so far, with 12 games played on the season. Play is underway at Wimbledon in the men's single semifinal between Britain's Arthur Ferry and Germany's Alexander Zverev. It's the first time those two have ever played against each other. Later, number 1, Yannick Sinner of Italy takes on all-time great Novak Djokovic of Serbia. That's what's happening at Wimbledon, and that is your sports to 8:38. Let's talk CFAX 1070 traffic and weather, shall we? Ooh, that's a button I didn't want to push.
It's too soon.
Who doesn't love...
Now we're all salivating.
Well, I'll tell you that the Dallas Food Guys chat is coming up in just a moment. But right now I'm going to push the traffic button.
Okay.
Because that's what we're talking about. Malahat is okay after yesterday's closure and the power lines getting brought down, but it's still a little slow by Shawnigan Lake Road where they're still working on the power outage. Because, Lisa, you were saying that the power is still out for a bunch of folks in the area.
17 hours.
It's a lot of power outage going on there still, and they're still working on it. Shawnigan Lake Road itself is closed, though. You can't get from the Malahat onto Shawnigan Lake Road or otherwise. But the Malahat itself is moving. That's the short story there. You can always give us an update at 71010 if you see anything. And over to the other blip on traffic. This is in the city. Cook Street, paving work, same as yesterday, between Slater and Tolmie Avenue. That's continuing until 7 p.m. with single-lane alternating traffic. The weather forecast is mainly cloudy today. We see a high of 20. A little cooler by the windy one to Fuca Street because it's the same story all this week, just a bit breezy today. We will see clouds tonight, lows to 12, still windy. Tomorrow, mainly cloudy, still windy, highs of 21. Cooler by the water. Sunday's kind of the same mix of sun and cloud, highs of 20. And next week, we might start to clear up a little bit, get rid of some of these clouds that have been just sort of a part of the forecast for the last few days, and getting a little warmer, too. But that's in the long-range stuff. The weekend ahead is looking very much just like the last few days. On the markets, S&P TSX in Toronto, the earlier gains are starting to melt away. We're now just up 8 points to 35,208. The Dow in New York is up 111 to 52,598. The Nasdaq down 21. The Canadian dollar at 70.7 cents US, which is up 1/10 of a cent from yesterday.
Come on then, let's go!
Friday Food Vibes.
You ever think about what we put into our mouths?
All the time.
You are cooking
on CFAX 1070.
Yeah, Dallas from the Vic Food Guys is here. Dallas, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. That music, I start bopping my head when I hear that.
Good.
That's all I've been doing here. Getting us into the mood because Dallas joins us here on a Friday to talk about many things. He gives us some reviews of things he's eaten around town. He talks to us about events involving food that are taking place over the weekend or really just anywhere you want to take us. Here's the thing, Dallas. We just invite you to come and hang out and talk to us. We don't know what you're going to do. You're just going to do stuff. So what do you got for us
Let
today?
him off leash.
Yeah, I think I've said before, it's kind of dangerous. You guys just leave like an open season for me and I can do whatever I want. But I greatly appreciate it. The first thing I wanted to touch on today is something that started recently at Lure.
we've talked about Lure previously, but they're doing a 3-course menu after 5 p.m. every day.
Okay.
$65. And shout out to Curtis. He's the chef there. They do an incredible job. But it's 3 courses, and it's got some of my favorite things in the whole city on this menu. Just unreal value. But so they start you off with the appetizer course, which they give you a little bit of the beetroot hummus, and then they give you the miso Brussels sprouts. And I've talked about the Brussels sprouts before.
Yeah, you're a big fan of these. Yeah.
Yes. So you start with those 2 things, right?
Yeah.
Then you go into the main and you get a choice. And so I'm going to advocate, if people like risotto, the Nduja butter risotto is everything you could ever hope and want from a risotto. Huh. It has the texture you want, the flavor. It's so like, I want to say like full body. Like there's so much there. It's so comforting. It's not too rich. That risotto is just absolutely awesome. And it's one of the new items on their menu. So
you said, hang on, you said Nduja butter?
Yeah, Nduja butter risotto. Yeah.
What is
Nduja?
What's Nduja? That's the...
It's a type of sausage.
Right.
Oh,
Yes.
So it's butter that's mixed with the sausage?
Yes, that's right.
Huh. Well, that already sounds good. Okay.
Sounds different.
Yeah, it's different, but it is so flavorful and it's awesome. And then you get a choice of one of the 2 desserts. So what I would do is I would get 2 people, go as a pair, get this menu, and then add another entree on top of it.
Oh.
Okay.
So and then I guess you could share the thing as it is, but I eat a lot of food, so I would add another entree on. More than enough food for 2 people. The fish and chips is amazing. We've talked about that, Ryan. The steelhead bowl is probably the one that I would combo with this because it's light, it's vibrant, a lot of flavor. But then I would do that. You'd be into it for about $100 before tax and tip, and which unfortunately seems to be the norm nowadays. You kind of hit that $100 pretty easily. But the amount of food, the quality, I don't think you can really do better than this, to be honest with you. And they just won for best patio at the M Awards this year.
I was going to say, one of the things about Lure that really stands out on a nice day, they've got the patio space that is really something special. So that's also worth a shout out.
Cool. It's nice that you
100%.
had the prices. I like that.
Yeah, that's something I want to get more conscious about and let people know what they're in for. I think that is an important thing, because, as we all know, prices are going up on everything.
Yeah.
And I'm really big on budgeting, so I try and always keep that in mind personally, but I do need to bring that more. So, yeah, definitely. Just an unreally unfathomable good time at Lure with this thing is the way I would describe it.
So there we go. Our first review from Dallas with the Vic Food Guys. He's recently checked out the 3-course menu that they're offering at Lure starting at 5 p.m., $65. Although, as he says, maybe add some more. If you're a hungry guy like Dallas, throw an entree on there too, just for fun. That's great.
Never hurts.
Thank you so much, Dallas, for the first item out of the gate. But we're not done.
Yeah.
We've got more. We just got to take a break here for the news, so hang on. We'll be right back. Dallas has more suggestions about things he's tried that he'd like you to try. Good eats.
Things to eat.
Coming up next.
100%.
Over to the headlines. Here's Lisa with the news.
Yeah, more food for thought from Stats Canada. A national unemployment rate was at 6.5% in the month of June. That means our economy continued to add jobs that month with a gain of 18,000 positions. The average unemployment rate for major cities, Victoria, locally 4.4%. That's up from 4.1% in the month of May. Nanaimo at 7.4%, and that is down from 8.5%. And Vancouver at 6.6%. That's a slight change from 6.7% in the month of May. The mother of a 22-year-old among those presumed drowned wants to know how it is possible a charter operator didn't realize sooner that one of its craft sank in the Strait of Georgia on June 28th. Ashley Lynn said in an interview she encountered the operator on the docks in the seaside neighborhood of Steveston early evening on the day of the sinking, more than 8 hours after Top Ocean went down. The second vessel connected to the Top Vancouver fishing charter is now under Transport Canada detention after last month's fatal sinking. 6 people remain missing. And Kia in the U.S. issuing its third park outside recall for more than 460,000 vehicles due to fire risk. This, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. But of course, these risks always trickle north across our border. This particular recall applies to certain 2020 through 24 Telluride vehicles because the front power seat motor could overheat, and that could cause a fire even when the car is in motion. Kia owners are advised to park outside and away from their vehicles or structures until the repairs have been performed. That's your news to 8:47.
We got more with Dallas from the Vic Food Guys coming up as he continues to think about food and make us think about food. Where's he going to take us next? You're going to have to wait to find out.
Developing political story, a big doozy.
Vashi Capellos.
What started as a dull day is anything but.
The top newsmakers.
Your go-to political debrief. Daily. What is really going on?
The breaking news.
Just moments ago.
And the entertaining analysis and debate to follow.
I don't think you can sugarcoat it. It's an issue.
It's not true, guys. Yeah.
Vashi Capellos.
There is a greater plan here.
Vashi Capellos. Weekdays 9 a.m. to 11.
Bigger picture politically, which is
on CFAX 1070.
CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Bluebird Cabs. Need a cab? Download the Bluebird Cabs app at Bluebird Cabs Ltd. They're proudly local and Canadian-owned and run since 1946. On the roads, we're still just kind of situation the same on the Malahat as it's been all morning. Things are moving just fine after the big power line incident yesterday that caused a full closure through the afternoon commute. So things are moving, but it just slows down a little bit as you pass by Shawnigan Lake Road, where they're still working to restore power. They still got some work there. Shawnigan Lake Road itself is still closed at the Malahat. For the weather forecast, it is mainly cloudy today, a little windy off the water, highs of 20, and it's going to stay mostly the same through the weekend. Right now, it is 16 degrees.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
Hey, we got Dallas and the Vic Food Guys here, Dallas. And Dallas, I know we already did it once, but can we do it again?
Of course. I'm always here for more.
Eat it. Just eat it. Come on, then, let's go.
Friday food vibes.
You ever think about what we put into our mouths?
All the time.
You are cooking.
On CFAX 1070.
I just wanted to play the theme song one more time.
I love the music.
One of my favorite things to do is talk with my mouth full. So
Great to know.
That's an adventure when you with me.
Yeah, I bet.
It's an adventure.
Okay.
For those just joining us, we've already been talking to Dallas. His first thing out of the gate was just to recommend this thing he tried recently at Lure, which is the restaurant at the hotel, the Delta Ocean Point, just across the Johnson Street Bridge. The 3-course menu for $65. Was that it, right?
Yeah, it's called the Best of Lure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a menu they're doing that's going to be around for a little bit. So 100%. Don't write Lure off as a hotel restaurant. It's just a really, really good restaurant that happens to be in a hotel.
That was the first thing. What else you got for us?
Slight detour from food for a second.
Okay.
For anyone out there that likes pro wrestling like I do, tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m., the bell happens for 365 Pro Wrestling. It is going to be an absolutely unreal show that's going to be going on. It's happening in North Park at the First Met Hall. But if there's anyone out there listening that likes wrestling that has not been to a show, this one tomorrow night with 365 is going to be the one to go to. So just a quick detour from food to give that a shout out.
Is there any food being served there? Come on, Dallas. You don't go anywhere where there's no food.
I don't know what food, to be honest, is being served there. I didn't get any the last time I went.
All right.
I was too enthralled with the show. But so for the first thing that's going to be happening over the weekend, there's a pop-up happening from the people at Southfire. There's an empanada pop-up happening on Sunday from 12 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., and it's happening at Zambri's. So what this is you can pre-order. They have a selection of 4 different empanadas. There's a corn one, there's a chorizo provolone, there's a mushroom, and then there's a caprese or caprese, or I don't know how you pronounce it. So there's 4 different options. You can pre-order through their Instagram, or you can just walk in and pick them up. It's $34 for 6 of them, or for a dozen, it's $60. Their empanadas, I've had them before. Again, just unreasonably good. They are absolutely delicious. If you are going to walk up and go to Zambri's to get these, I would advocate for going closer to 12 so they don't sell out.
Okay.
But that's happening on Sunday from 12 to 2:30 p.m., and that's the people at Southfire.
Oh, and I just wanted to clarify. So you say it's at Zambri's, but do you actually have to go in and sit down and eat at Zambri's to get these, or is it off to the side?
No, I would assume that you'd walk in and you would just pick them up. That would be my guess.
You don't have to be a sitting down customer. Okay.
No, I don't believe so at all. No, not at all.
Yeah, just okay, cool.
Yeah, and then the next thing that's actually happening tonight for people that like hot dogs.
Yeah,
there's a thing happening with this group called Evil Wiener.
Did you just say? Hang on, did you just say Evil Wiener?
Yes, that's the name of it. This group.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is happening at Floyd's at 123 Gorge Road. So the Gorge location of Floyd's. It's starting at 5 p.m. until they're sold out. They have 4 different hot dogs that are going to be available. The one that I can't make it tonight, I wish I could, but the one that I would be enthralled with is called the Godfather, which has some house-made meatballs on the hot dog and then provolone on top of that.
Everything on it.
Is it basically a meatball sub that has a wiener in it?
That's kind of what it looks like to me. Yeah. So if that sounds interesting to you, then you're probably going to like all the options that they have, and that's going to be at Floyd's on the Gorge there. So 5 p.m. tonight, 5 p.m. until they're sold out.
Wow. Okay.
And then,
Evil Wiener. That's happening.
Have they done this before?
There has been other pop-ups, yes.
So are they? Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Lisa.
Have they done really well with it?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I haven't actually met the crew that is doing this.
Evil Wiener.
Yeah, I wanted to get to the last one, but I didn't make it. So for anyone that likes hot dogs, I haven't actually had a hot dog in quite a while. I'm kind of due for.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Goes well with wrestling.
Yeah, there you go. That's what you got to do. Get the Evil Wiener and then go see the wrestling match you were talking about.
Well, the wrestling's tomorrow. They're on different nights, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
But,
pace yourself.
What do you guys think of corn dogs? You guys like corn dogs?
Depends how well it's cooked and depends on the corn involved.
Lisa,
Okay.
Lisa was armed and ready with opinions on corn dogs. I was not expecting
Been
that.
to a lot of festivals in the States.
Yeah, okay.
There's some amazing corn dogs. What do you got for us?
So the next thing is not corn dog related. I don't want to detour.
I was all excited there.
Sorry, why?
I know. I wish.
Where'd the corn dog come from? Oh, I see. It's because of Evil
I was
Wiener.
making a weird jump in my mind.
I got very excited for corn dog reviews here, and now you're okay. What's next, though?
I got to leave you wanting more, though.
Okay, I'm going to throw something in left field then, into the weeds. Silveril is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year.
Oh, are they?
Speaking of corn.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
they're
so
the best corn.
And now the floor is back to you. It's yours.
So starting today until Sunday, Refire Kitchen is having their 3rd anniversary sale. And what that means is they have 20% off frozen items at all their locations. So at the in the freezers, you can go and pick up stuff and all that. It's 20% off this weekend through Sunday. So if anybody's not familiar with Refire, they do like gourmet food that you basically just take home, pop it in your oven, and then you have just restaurant quality stuff, except you spent no effort other than going and getting the stuff. You know what I mean?
And you're a big fan of this. I know you've introduced us to them before. You yourself are a big fan of the food that comes out of this place.
Yeah, 100%. Like as an example, the shepherd's pie that they do. I always thought I didn't like shepherd's pie, but when you have garlic whipped mashed potatoes on the top, and then you get pulled beef in it instead of like ground beef.
Oh, okay.
Once you start making these little changes, like it starts to become really interesting, and I quite like their shepherd's pie, which is weird for me to say based on my history.
They've got a third anniversary sale on today through Sunday, 20% off at all their locations. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Dallas, one more. You got 10 seconds.
Athena's Pizza. If you haven't had the donaires at Athena's Pizza, I had one last night. I've been going there for like 16 years. Always just a consistent experience. Go to Athena's and get a donaire. It's takeout only. It's on Quad Street across from the Keg.
Dallas from the Vic Food Guys. So much to try, so much to eat, and wrestling to go see on the weekend as well. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.